Good morning. Can we remain standing for short prayer and meditation? Thank you very much. You may be seated. In my expensive chair. I need a pen. Good morning, Honorable Premier, members of the Executive Council, members of the Provincial Legislature, the Chief Whip, leaders of political parties. Ladies and gentlemen, the people of Gauteng, our guests, Dumelang Bagolo. There are no announcements by the Speaker. However, we have an announcement by members, and Member Ngobeni of Action SA has an announcement. Honorable Ngobeni.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and good morning to members and our visitors in the gallery. Honorable Speaker, I rise to make the following announcement. On the 10th of September 2025, the City of Tshwane, under the leadership of Executive Moya, Dr. Moya, hosted a landmark investment summit in partnership with stakeholders across the public and private sector. Honorable Speaker, this summit has set a new benchmark for what municipal-led economic development can achieve. While the initial target was 5 billion, the summit delivered over 16 billion in confirmed investment commitments, more than triple the expectation. These investments are not abstract pledges, they are sector-specific commitments in infrastructure, property development, manufacturing and renewable energy, critical to job creation, inclusive growth and economic resilience in our capital city. This success is not by chance, it is the result of deliberate governance reforms by Mayor Moya and the entire administration. The launch of the new application processing system to decisively deal with and reducing bureaucratic red tape, the establishment of VIP business line, ensuring direct and swift investor access, and reconfiguration of the Strategic Investment Committee to accelerate approvals. Already these reforms are beginning to unlock dormant municipal assets like the Rooiwal Power Station, Wonderboom Airport, and the Tshwane Fresh Produce Market, converting unutilized infrastructure into energies of economic opportunities. Honorable Speaker, the significance of this summit extends beyond Tshwane. It demonstrates that with visionary leadership, political will, and genuine collaboration with the private sector, municipalities can lead the charge in reversing economic decline, restoring business confidence, and delivering tangible opportunities for our people. This is a model not just worth celebrating, but worth replicating across Gauteng, where our communities demand nothing less than real economic transformation and sustainable jobs. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ngobeni.
Hey, how's it? Great. Welcome, Jose.
Okay, welcome also. We are also welcoming Honorable Ngobeni. Thank you very much, but it sounded more like a member statement. Yeah. Honorable members, we have a statement by members of the Executive Council in terms of Rule 79, subsection 1, subsection 2. Honorable Nkomo Ralehoko, I'm told she's online. Honorable MEC? Yes, it is a hybrid sitting. Honorable MEC? Honorable MEC Ralehoko? Is she online? Okay. Honorable MEC Ralehoko? Your statement.
Yes, Madam Speaker. Just a second, Madam Speaker. Thank you. Yeah. Speaker and the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Premier, Chief Whip, members of the Executive Council, residents of Gauteng. Today I stand before you to address an urgent matter concerning and regarding the delays in processing pathology results as experienced by the National Health Laboratory Services Histology Laboratory, which is housed at the Charlotte Maxeke Johannesburg Academic Hospital. Pathology results are critical to the diagnosis and treatment of cancer patients. They are essential for determining the presence and the type of cancer that our patients are experiencing. Today, as I said, pathology results are critical indeed to the diagnosis and treatment of cancer patients. They are essential for determining the presence and the type of cancer, guiding treatment decisions, and ultimately saving lives. These results enable healthcare professionals to tailor treatment plans that are vital for the effective management of cancer, ensuring that patients receive the care they need in a timely manner. Madam Speaker, I want to emphasize that while we are working with the NHLS to ensure that they expedite the release of pathology results, this does not mean that the treatment cancer patients is halted. Our healthcare specialists continue to deliver necessary interventions and support, ensuring that all patients receive care, including radiation oncology treatment. I want to assure the House that other pathology laboratories like Chris Hani Baragwanath Academic Hospital continue to function well without backlogs. Recently, the Gauteng Department of Health convened a session with medical specialists. They highlighted the impact of the significant delays experienced at National Health Laboratory Service in providing timely pathology services at SIMJA, which is Charlotte Maxeke. In response to the plight, we immediately escalated these concerns and engaged in a constructive dialogue with the NHLS leadership, focusing on the backlog, which is predominantly at Charlotte Maxeke Johannesburg Academic Hospital and Steve Biko Academic Hospital with lesser cases. During this meeting, we recognized the need for a dedicated multidisciplinary task team composed of specialists from both our department and NHLS. This team will work in collaboration to devise a comprehensive plan to prioritize delays in pathology results. The task team was also tasked with exploring the inclusion of private pathologists to help alleviate the delays. As the department, then, we are also actively looking into the possibility of establishing our own laboratory to fast-track the processing of pathology specimens. This initiative aims to enhance our internal capacity, reduce dependency on NHLS, and ensure that our patients receive timely and efficient care. In closing, Madam Speaker, I want to reiterate that cancer treatment is currently ongoing and the issue of pathology services is receiving close attention. We are working hand in hand with NLHS and other stakeholders to find sustainable solutions, and we understand the urgency of this matter and we are dedicated to ensure that our patients receive the quality care they deserve. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Ngiyabulela.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable MEC. Honorable members, in terms of the standing rule, the number of members entitled to make a statement shall be restricted to 5 members per sitting. However, I have decided to exercise my discretion in terms of Rule 81, subsection 3, to extend the number of members who wish to make a statement, while recognizing members of various parties in accordance with the proportional representation in the House. Therefore, members whose statements have not been included in today's sitting are encouraged to resubmit for the next sitting. Member Evans, your statement, please.
Honourable Speaker, I rise today under Rule 81 to pay tribute to Mama Katrina Isu, or Oma Katrina, who at 91 years old remains a fierce custodian of the Khoisan heritage and one of the last fluent speakers of the Ngu language, amongst the oldest languages on earth. Oma Katrina has dedicated her life to teaching children, persevering a culture and history that forms the very foundation of South Africa's identity. Yet, Honourable Speaker, it is deeply troubling that her work has largely been sustained through her own determination and community support, rather than proper government investment. For too long, the Khoisan people, the first inhabitants of this land, have been marginalized, their languages endangered, and their heritage overlooked. While we boast about diversity, the reality is that indigenous languages, such as Mu, faces extinction because there are no serious programs or resources from government to preserve them. If it were not for Omar Katrina's resilience, a vital part of our history would already have been lost. We cannot, Honourable Speaker, continue to celebrate heritage in speeches while failing to support the very people who carry it. Government must move beyond symbolic recognition and provide real funding, research and educational programs to ensure that Khoisan languages and culture survive. Honouring Omar Katrina means acting now, before it is too late. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Evans. Honourable Mulder.
Thank you.
Honourable Mulder. Unmute yourself.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Apologies, I'll be joining the House within a couple of minutes physically at the member statement online. Citizens of Gauteng, economic hub of South Africa, suffers from poor municipal services delivery and a non-national government failing to manage core functions such as water safety and the printing of driving licenses. The current dispensation has been failing. The FF Plus believes decision-making powers must be devolved to provincial level to bring the decision-making powers and solutions closer to people. Gauteng should ultimately even have the right to draft its own constitution. Our people deserve better. It's time for a new dispensation that ensures stability and real service delivery. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Is that it? Okay. Thank you very much, Honourable Mulder. Honourable Moody.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'll be doing the statement on behalf of Honourable Moody. Honourable Speaker, honourable members, I rise today to commend the unwavering courage and integrity of Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, the KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Police Commissioner, whose recent testimony before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry has rightly shaken the foundations of our criminal justice system. General Mkhwanazi has done what few in public service dare to do. He has spoken truth to power. He has exposed the deep-rooted criminal syndicates, political interference and corruption that threatens the very safety and stability of our nation. His warning of a real risk of total collapse within the justice system is not a hyperbole, it is a call to action. Honourable Speaker, this is the kind of leadership South Africa needs, leadership that puts country before party, truth before comfort, and justice before self-preservation. I call on every leader within the Gauteng provincial government to reflect deeply on General Mkhwanazi's example. We must ask ourselves, are we protecting the systems that safeguard our democracy, or are we complicit in their erosion? Let us be clear, South Africans are watching. They are demanding accountability, transparency, and courage. We must rise to meet that demand. I stand in full support of Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi and urge this House to do the same. Let us recommit to building a justice system rooted in integrity, transparency, and public trust. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Murray. Honourable Kunene.
Honourable Speaker, I stand today with pride to recognize a day that strikes a chord in the heart of our country. Heritage Day observed on the 24th of September and its deep resonance with the principles of and history of the ANC. This day is much more than a national holiday on our calendar. It is a day crafted from many threads of our collective identity. Heritage Day provides all South Africans with valuable opportunity to step away, look around, and celebrate the vibrance of cultural diversity that makes up the fabric of our nation. It's a day when we honor the traditions passed down through the ages, the stories told by our grandparents, the music that moves our hearts, and the languages that give unique voice to our lives. From what we wear to what we practice, our heritage is a guiding light that steers us, reminding us of where we come from. Most importantly, Heritage Day is also reaching into the future. It is about sharing our own cultures with our neighbors and learning their cultures from them in return. It is from that shared meal that we build bridges of understanding and respect. We discover our diversity. We discover that diversity is not a source of division, but an opportunity to celebrate, building the social fabric that binds us together as one people. Thus, I urge all members of this House and all citizens of this province to embrace the essence of this day. Let us consider it as a catalyst for dialogue, of celebrations, and of renewed promise to hold on to the intangible heritage that defines us. Let us celebrate individual uniqueness, but proudly stand together as one in our shared national identity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kunene. Honorable Mhlongo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is my pleasure to welcome the recent Gauteng provincial audit outcomes as tabled by the MEC for Finance and Economic Development, MEC Maile, on the 7th of September 2025. Of interest to me and quite a remarkable achievement is the sterling performance of the ANC-led Department of Transport and Logistics and its entities in attaining a clean audit. It is heartwarming and encouraging to witness such an achievement for the Department of Transport and Logistics amidst many challenges we are confronted with on a daily, on the ground in relation to addressing the Gauteng 13 challenges. We thank the leadership collective as led by MEC Honorable Diale Tlabela. This achievement and a historic moment are a bold statement of demonstration of capacity and commitment by the men and women working in this department. On behalf of the ANC, we take the heed to the recent roll call meeting of all private representatives of the ANC to rally behind the ANC action plan of acting decisively on service delivery challenges facing our community as we build up to the local government elections of 2026. To us, this is not just an act of compliance, it is a statement of reassurance that financial prudence will remain an integral part of how we do business at the Transport and Logistics Transport. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, we say there can be no rest when our roads have potholes, our road signs are not fixed, and our robots are not working. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mhlongo. Honorable Mfikwe, your statement.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Greetings to everybody, led by you and the Premier in absence. Madam Speaker, in his intellectual property titled, I open quote, Socialism, Scientific and Utopian, close quote, Friedrich Engels cogently contends that, open quote, everything must justify existence before the judgment seat of reason, or give up existence. Honourable members, drawing inspirations from Engels, we must ask ourselves, is it justifiable for the government to continue putting projects out to tender? The stance adopted by our Premier offers an answer to this pertinent question. The announcement made by the Premier of our province regarding the new phase of Nasis Pane, which aims to eliminate the provincial government's reliance on tenders, is a move that should be welcomed by all and sundry. Our excessive dependence on the tender system cannot be justified in the light of reason, and therefore it should be abandoned. We applaud the ANC-led government of provincial unity for this initiative to train young people in essential skills such as painting, bricklaying, welding, and welding, thereby allowing the province to handle its public works in-house and eliminate corruption-prone tenders. This decision, Madam Speaker, will only not aid our government for securing sustainable employment for most of our despondent young people who are predominantly black and working class, but it will also contribute positively to our efforts in moving forward towards a developmental state. Honourable members, we need to reevaluate the practice of enriching small minority of our population through government tenders, especially when it comes at the expense of the unemployed majority in our province. Government projects should be viewed as opportunities to address the widening income gap between the rich and the poor. We must act swiftly in enhancing our state capacity, empowering communities and creating more job opportunities through the direct skills development and technical and vocational education and training TVET colleges and our universities. Therefore, Madam Speaker, we welcome this intervention as it guarantees a desperate desired breakthrough for working class youth across the province of Gauteng. Happy Heritage Day to everybody. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Mfikwe, Honourable Ncheke.
Thank you, Speaker. MEC Faith Mazibuko's decision to centralize food bank operations is contributing to mayhem whereby kids under the age of 5 suffering and even worse dying from malnutrition. This follows a shocking revelation by MEC Nomantu Ralihukos responding to DA's questions in the Gauteng legislature that there were over 8,000 cases of child malnutrition in Gauteng health facilities last year. The most concerning figures include 224 severe malnutrition cases seen by 11 Houtbosch and 190 cases in the Vaal. Most disturbing, however, is that while children are starving, food is rotting in regional food banks, particularly the one in Ekurhuleni, which I visited earlier this month. I discovered that this NPO had food delivered and yet had been defunded, which means they could not distribute this food. MEC Mazibuko should be ashamed of contributing to child hunger. The food rotting could have fed hundreds and hundreds of children, assisting in preventing this malnutrition. Instead, the MEC is upset with me that I did my job and did oversight at the Ekurhuleni Food Bank, which is typical of poor leadership that embodies the current Gauteng government. This is a repeat of what happened earlier in West Rand Food Bank earlier this year, defunding an NPO and yet going ahead and providing them food. How must they distribute it? A DA-led government would never allow malnutrition to continue, especially when a government decentralizes food parcels and instead would ensure that the poor and the vulnerable have easy access to food to prevent malnutrition of our children and to prevent death due to malnutrition. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Ncheke. Honourable Muriati.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On the 8th of September, the Premier tabled a response to a question from Honourable Msimanga stating that an updated list of forensic investigation reports will be shared with the Gauteng Provincial Legislature by 19 September 2025. The Premier missed that deadline. This shouldn't be a surprise. Since July 2023, the Premier avoided disclosing the details of 177 forensic investigation reports. Since January this year, he has had to face pressure from the information regulator in this regard. Accordingly, it's true, Honourable MEC Mamabolo, it's true. Accordingly, in May, the Premier announced he was releasing 47 of these reports. There were, in fact, only 37 reports released, and these were heavily redacted. A few weeks later, the Premier announced that he was releasing 39 more. These reports were even more redacted than the previous 37. In the next few weeks, the information regulator will finalise its report into the conduct of the Premier in his handling of this matter. We await the outcome with great interest. Colleagues, I would remind this House that we were told of lifestyle audits conducted. But who in this House has ever seen the outcome? When we asked the Premier to disclose, he referred us to the SIU. When we approached the SIU, they sent us back to the Premier. We know of 3 individuals that failed their lifestyle audits. We just do not know who they are. Colleagues, the public of Gauteng have an interest in these matters. They have a right to know who misspends their money. The Premier, by not acting in openness and transparency, is not showing contempt to the DA. He is showing contempt to all of us in this legislature, and most egregiously, he is showing contempt to all the residents of Gauteng. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Moriarty. Honourable Dilebo.
Honourable Speaker, I rise today on a matter of profound public importance, compelled by my oath of office to bring to the attention of this House the critical issue that is in the heart of our constitutional democracy and our national fabric, which is the deeply concerning perception of a compromised judiciary. The judiciary is supposed to be the crucial cornerstone of our constitutional democracy. It is therefore with grave concern that we as Mkondo Sizwe Party note the growing and dangerous perception that the cornerstone is eroding. Our reservations are not without foundation. A stark example, Honourable Speaker, was the judgment of the Western Cape High Court, which pertained to composition of the Judicial Service Commission that effectively precluded the Honourable Dr. John Hlophe from his proceedings. This judgment underscored our fears regarding the politicization of judicial appointments and processes, a matter that we believe should be beyond reproach. Furthermore, we must also question the recent ruling of the highest court in the land that appeared to be out of touch with the protection of our cultural fabric. South Africa's Constitutional Court has ruled that men can now legally take their wives' surnames. Yes. This decision made on 11 September 2025, allowing men to assume their spouse's surname upon marriage, is an unfortunate addition to the overall judicial controversy. Honourable Speaker, our primary concern is that this ruling creates a significant loophole that can be exploited. Therefore, Honourable Speaker, we call upon this House and the Executive Council to urge the national government through its relevant channels to initiate the broad and inclusive, transparent review of the judicial appointment process. Furthermore, we urgently call upon the Premier and the members of the Executive Council here in Gauteng to add their voices to this national cause, to lobby their counterparts in the National Executive, and to plead with members of Parliament to review the implications of this surname judgment. I thank you.
Take our surname. Take our surname.
Okay, thank you very much, Honourable Dilebo. Honourable Masilela.
Greeting, Madam Speaker. The state of our municipalities continue to reflect deep systematic failures. Municipalities like Mfuleni repeatedly register unqualified audit opinions plagued by non-compliance material, misstatements in annual financial statements, weak expenditure management, and persistent failures in procurement and consequence management. These outcomes reveal not just administrative negligence, but also a lack of political will to govern in the interest of our people. Against this backdrop of collapse, the EFF takes pride in the gains made in Ekurhuleni under the leadership of Gauteng Chairperson Nkululeko Donga, who served as an MMC for Finance from April 2023 until June 2024. Ekurhuleni distinguished itself in 2022 and 2023 as one of just 2 metros nationwide to secure a clean audit. This is not by accident, Madam Speaker, but though discipline through governance, lawful expenditure, and performance that withstand the highest level of scrutiny. This milestone was achieved under the stewardship of Nkululeko Donga, whose tenure as the Ekurhuleni MMC was marked by a pro-poor budget, timely payment of suppliers, and strengthening financial controls. These efforts trace back to his role as a chair of MPAC in the municipality, where Ekurhuleni had one of the most stringent mechanisms of overseeing public accounts, a feature currently being replicated by the EFF chair of MPAC in the city of Tshwane, Councillor Godwin Ratikwan. Indeed, Madam Speaker, the EFF can govern, and where we govern well. Some notable achievements under Fighter Dunga leadership of MMC Finance in Ekurhuleni include introduction concrete measures that directly benefited the working class and the poor. Initiatives which include amending indigent policy, scrapping and writing of 10 billion in debts owed by households unable to pay, and raising the threshold of indigent qualification from 250,000 to 500,000. This expansion added an additional of 200,000 households to the register, granting them access of free basic services and restoring dignity of the poorest residents of Ekurhuleni. It must be noted, Madam Speaker, that these achievements were not replicated by his predecessors. Honourable Speaker, the record of Fighter Dunga in Ekurhuleni demonstrates that principled leadership enables municipality to achieve stability, compliance, and improve poor government, where all outcomes translate into service delivery.
Your time is up, Honourable
This serves as a
Masilela.
proof that radical people-centered governance achievable when corruption and mismanagement are controlled head-on. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Honourable members. Honourable Masilela, wena le MEC Mamabulo, and Honourable Evans. Order, Honourable Mfikwe. Honourable members, giving notice of a motion in terms of Rule 121, there's none. Motion without notice in terms of Rule 120, Honourable Mokhobe.
Thanks so much, Speaker. I, Member Mokhobe, the Deputy Chief Whip, hereby tables the following motion in terms of Rule 121 and Rule 122 as follows. Noting that the following orders or reports were not programmed for today's House sitting on Tuesday, 23 September 2025. These reports are Economic Development Portfolio Committee Forecast Intervention Study on the Vaal Special Economic Zone as a catalyst to propel the economy of the Sedibeng region and local economic downtrends and global pressure. The second one is Privileges and Ethics Standing Committee report on the declaration of members' interests for the 2024-2025 financial year. Further noting, Speaker, that the following items were programmed for today's House sitting of Tuesday, 23 September 2025. Questions for oral reply to members of the Executive Council. Therefore, we request that the House resolves to include the all above mentioned orders or reports to the orders of today's House sitting of Tuesday, 23 September 2025, and to defer all questions for oral reply to members of the Executive to a House sitting date to be confirmed. I so move, Speaker.
Okay, is there a seconder?
I rise to second, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Adams. Oh, no, apologies first. Okay, no, thank you very much. Honourable members, we have stakeholders in the gallery. To our right, to my right rather, they are students from the Rosebank College who are studying public administration, and they are also Hansard stakeholders. Yeah. Okay, just a gentle reminder to yourselves, you're welcome, but you cannot participate in the proceedings of the House. That includes clapping hands. You can smile though. Clapping hands and taking photos. That you cannot do, ne? You can ignore that, but you are welcome. Okay, honorable members, we now go to apologies. Honorable Nkani is not joining us due to party business. Honorable Diale Tlabela is attending the KZN Interprovincial Benchmarking Oversight. Member Ali is out of the country, and the following members are attending the African Network of Parliamentary Budget Officers Conference. Honorable Mosai, Honorable Sisedi Nyane, Honorable Klaba, Honorable Robinson. All of them are in Nigeria. Honorable Msimang is going to be joining the House late, if we'll still be here. Honorable Bloom is on religious leave. Honorable Silias is on urgent party business. Honorable Duplessis is recovering from surgery. Honorable Hickling is also on religious leave. Those are the only apologies. No, joining virtually is not an apology. We have a number of members who are joining us virtually, so those are not apologies necessarily. Mokwaledi, re kopa o re balele tsamaiso ya ntlha.
Thank you, Speaker. Consideration of the Oversight Committee on the Office of the Premier and the Legislature's Oversight Report on the first quarterly performance report of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature for the financial year 2025-2026.
Ke a leboga. Honorable Mekwe.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and good morning to all honorable members and the team. The committee reviewed the first quarter performance report of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature and assessed the progress made in implementing the annual performance plan for 25-26 financial year. In accordance with Section 54 of the Financial Management of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures, the Executive Authority is mandated to present quarterly reports to the Legislature for oversight. The committee observed that GPL's financial performance reflects a total allocation of 380 million for the quarter, 380,000 million for the quarter, with 310,000 million, which is about 82.6 thousand expenditure, and this resulted in an underspending of 0.160 million. Compensation of employees underspent by 18.4 million due to unfilled vacancies, terminations from resignations to retirements, and outstanding 13 check for political support staff. Political parties have the discretion to determine the payment period for their respective support staff, and projections were aligned with the Institutional Integrated Performance Management System policy. The committee noted that none of the advertised positions have been filled since their initial posting in October 2024, and that the administration was asked to re-advertise this position because external candidates had issues with the provided application link. A re-advertisement was required after internal candidates showed low response rates. Additionally, presenting the long list of applicants was delayed due to the selection panels only being appointed in the first quarter for 25-26 financial year. It is reported that in June 2025, a letter was received from organized labor requesting that GPL waive the minimum inherent job requirements for the advertised positions. As a direct response, all vacant positions were immediately put on hold pending rapid resolution of this critical matter. EXCO has swiftly requested a legal opinion to expedite the process and will promptly consider the legal opinion and then engage with Labour to finalize this matter without further delay. The committee strongly urges the GPL to resolve this matter with the highest priority. Goods and services underspent by 50.2 million due to outstanding invoices from service providers. Capital assets exceeded the budget by 2.5 million due to approved rollover of laptops for staff. The committee noted that the GPL has collected a total of 11.9 million for the quarter from interest on investments. In terms of financial performance, Program 1, Leadership and Governance, had allocated budget of 28.6 million, and the Office of the Secretary, 2.1 million. The program was allocated 7.5 million. Corporate Support Services was allocated 233.5 million, and core business spent 71.9. Honourable Speaker, consider all those areas that I will not read as read. Of the 14 planned non-financial targets, 7 were achieved. Under Programme 3, the targets for implementing learning and growth planned initiatives, the space optimization project and ICT planned initiatives were actually not achieved. GPL will continue to pursue the attraction of PWDs for goods and services required by GPL, even though the GPL indicated that it is experiencing a challenge activating the PWDs ecosystem. This remains a concern to the committee considering the already low 0.5 target. The GPL processed 1.2 invoices during the quarter under review, and of these 1.1 were paid within 15 days, 29 were paid after 15 days but within 30 days, and 17 were paid after 30 days. In terms of performance by strategic outcomes, the committee noted that 100% of resolutions, questions and reports were assessed for compliance with timeous response and submissions, respectively. One oversight report on the performance of committees was produced and tabled before the Standing Committee of Chairpersons. A total of 10 bills were also processed by House committees. 3 regulations were approved. The Gauteng Petitions Amendment Bill was passed, and GPL collaborated with the National Speakers Forum, the Gauteng Speakers Forum, engagement with counterparts from the Russian Embassy, the Chinese Consulate, and the Venezuela Solidarity. Prudent accounting practices were complied with. In line with FAMPLA, and compliance report was submitted and approved. 33% of trainings to members rolled out successfully versus a target of 25%. Concerns and recommendations, all the concerns raised were addressed, discussed and agreed upon during the review of the GPL's first quarter performance. That mitigation plans are in place for the 7 unmet targets, and the committee expects adherence going forward. On acknowledgement, we appreciate the cooperation of the Speaker, Honourable Musupia, the Acting Provincial Secretary, Mr. Mwale, the senior management team during the consideration of the first quarter performance report for 25-26 financial year. I would like to express my gratitude to the following honourable members: Honourable Makubela, Dr. Masugu, Dr. Mukheti, Dr. Choke, Mr. Msimang, Dr. Bloom, Mr. Pimokwala, Mr. Ngobeni, Honourable Mneso, Mr. Alberts, and Ms. Alice. The committee would like to express its gratitude to the following individuals for their dedication throughout the process: the group communicator, Ms. Vas, the senior researcher, Ms. Dlamini, senior committee coordinators, Montisi, Ms. Mahato, committee researcher, Mr. Mukhule, senior information officer, Ms. Nechivuyu, research intern, Ms. H. Kotsia, committee administrators, Mr. X. Sitole, Mr. Ngono, Hansard recorders, Ms. R. Singh, Ms. N. Zondo, communication officer, Mr. S. Milane, and service officer, Ms. M. Katisi. Adoption. After due consideration, the committee unanimously adopted its report on the first quarter performance report of GPL for the 25-26 financial year. In terms of Rule 164, the committee presents to this report to the House, and recommendations be adopted of the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Miko. Is there a seconder?
Yes, Speaker, I second.
Thank you very much. I now put a question. All those in favour say yes. Yes. Those that are not in favour say no. So the report is adopted. Mokwaledi, tsamaiso ya bobedi.
Thank you, Speaker. Consideration of the Oversight Committee on the Office of the Premier and the Legislature's Oversight Report on the first quarterly performance report of the Office of the Premier for the financial year 2025-2026.
Thank you very much. Honourable Mekwe.
Thank you once more, and I stand on the observed protocols. A total amount of 1.5 billion has been allocated to the Office of the Premier as the main appropriation for the 25-26 financial year. Out of the 1.5 billion appropriation, 589 million has been allocated for first quarter for the 25-26 financial year, and 235 million expenditure was recorded, which is about 40% of the quarterly allocation. At the end of the quarter under review, the expenditure of the Office of the Premier was at the 15% of the total annual allocation. And in terms of the performance of the APP targets, 59% of the planned targets have been achieved in this quarter under review. Honourable Speaker, let us consider those areas that I will not read as read. The budget programme performance reflected that Programme 1 underspent its first quarter projection by 49% due to costs related to the Life ACT Mini project and the Usindiso Commission of Inquiry. As these were not funded through the Office of the Premier's equitable share, the committee notes that the Office of the Premier has raised this issue with the Provincial Treasury, and the request for additional funding will be submitted during the adjustment process. On Programme 2, experience moderate underspending, achieving 81% of its first quarter projection due to technical challenges as departments migrated the bus system from V5 to V6 and the difficulty of validating the codes while creating purchase orders. In addition, underspending was attributed to the Provincial Treasury's introduction of a new system used to process supplier payments, where suppliers experience challenges when loading invoices into the system and eventually cause delays in the processing payments. To mitigate this challenge, the Office of the Premier reported that Treasury is assisting with IMS training and registration. On Programme 3, recorded significant underspending with 26% expenditure on its first quarter projection. This deviation resulted from several administrative and operational issues that included, amongst others, delays in transferring the Gauteng City Region Academy and Gauteng Advisory Council employees to the Office of the Premier through the PESAR system, which impacted payroll processing. The Office of the Premier indicated that it is actively working to finalize employee transfers and enhancing the efficiency of invoice processing to ensure smooth financial operations in subsequent quarters. Procurement spending on PWD's enterprises registered 0% against the 7% target due to smaller supplier base with capacity constraints. The committee acknowledges the commendable achievement of preferential procurement spending on black-owned enterprises, which exceeded the target of 80%, reaching about 98.48%. However, persistent public dissatisfaction regarding repeated applications of GPG procurement contracts without successful appointment is concerning. To unearth underlying causes of public dissatisfaction, the committee recommended that a comprehensive study be undertaken to examine the profile of recurring beneficiaries and assess whether the intended empowerment of marginalized group is being effectively broadened and equitably implemented. The committee notes that a total of 19 lifestyle audits were conducted, Honourable Muriati, encompassing accounting officers, chief executive officers and head of departments. Risk assessment outcomes show that 37% of the audited accounting officers were categorized as high risk or failed their assessment. 16% were identified as medium risk and 47% were deemed low risk. The lifestyle audit was not only based on lifestyle concern, but also on those who underspent, missed targets, the unsatisfactory responded to the lifestyle audit, as well as those with skills that are not aligned to the seventh administration priorities. It is noted that corrective measures have been put into effect and disciplinary action was taken where required. It is noted that 6 HOTs have been replaced by acting HOTs in the Departments of Social Development, Economic Development, Community Safety, Education, Arts and Culture, Agriculture. The Office of the Premier reported that the lifestyle audit outcome of the HOT for Health Department is still pending. A full lifestyle audit report can be attained from SIU. Honourable Murati is not here. The committee knows that the Office of the Premier is in the process of mediating the Usindiso Part B report with the relevant municipality as part of the consultation process before it could be released to avoid municipal delays in undertaking the report to a review as it was previously undertaken with Part A of the report. The Office of the Premier has indicated that GSRA currently contributes to Programme 2 and has applied to the Gauteng Treasury for GSRA to be allocated a separate program with effect from the 1st of April 2022. However, the committee expressed that the misalignment of the GCRA program could have been rectified before March 2025. The Office of the Premier reported that 186 out of 749 SMS field posts with the GPG have been vetted and 555 are awaiting feedback from the State Security Agency. The committee expressed its awareness that government priorities are aligned to the national MTTP and have customized to address provincial issues. However, of concern is the action taken by the Office of the Premier and GPG in ensuring the achievement and impact of these priorities. The Office of the Premier explained that GPG is not only focused on NASISPANI for job creation, but another intervention mechanism that falls under the Economic Development Plan is the expansion of provincial economic development zones to drive job creation. An indication was made that infrastructure investment, as one of the sectors of the major economic driver, requires stimulation, as it has shown several absorptions in terms of jobs. The Office of the Premier further clarified that NASISPANI provides a variety job opportunities that includes, among others, the Teacher Assistance Program, Renewable Energy Skills, ITC Skills, Artificial Intelligence, Artisan Careers, Performing Arts, and Learnerships. Furthermore, the office reported that the rationale to merge GPG departments with one political head is informed by the Constitution of the Republic, which entrusts executive authority to the Premier, exercisable with other MECs by inter alia, implementing provincial and national legislation, developing and implementing provincial policy, and preparing and initiating provincial legislation in terms of Section 125. The Premier has the power to appoint no fewer than 5 and not more than 10 MECs and assigns them powers and functions and may dismiss them in terms of Section 132. The committee is of the view that overall performance of the Office of the Premier in the first quarter of 25-26 reflected that the implementation of delivery programs is on track except Program 1, GCRA, a specialist GCRA sub-program, which has also shown any movement in the quarter under review, with an indication that the Office of the Premier is still addressing transfer issues from the Department of Education. The committee findings, the committee is concerned about the numerous non-achievements of targets under GCRA and is of the view that the transfer of this program to the Office of the Premier could not have halted progress in the implementation of targets. This component was fully functional under the Department of Education. The Planning, Performance Monitoring and Evaluation, Research and Policy Development sub-program recorded 0% against the targeted 100% compliance with policy formulation guidelines by provincial departments. The committee is concerned about the Office of the Premier decision to outsource the task of policy formulation instead of ensuring collaboration effort to increase in-house capacity. On recommendations, the Premier must submit a detailed report by the end of the second quarter of the current financial year, explaining the specific factors that led to delays and non-achievement of targets under the Gauteng City Region sub-program. The report should actually clearly outline the operational, structural, or transitional challenges following the transfer of GCRA from the Department of Education. The Premier should also, by the end of second quarter of the current financial year, provide a formal explanation detailing the rationale behind its decision to outsource policy formulation task instead of utilizing internal human capacity. This explanation must include an assessment of current in-house skills gap, a plan to build internal capacity within the planning, performance, monitoring and evaluation sub-program, as well as measurable targets to improve compliance with provincial policy formulation guidelines, moving from 0% to at least 50% by the next reporting cycle. There were no implications for lawmaking. The committee hereby thank and acknowledge the cooperation of the Office of the Premier, the role played by the Gauteng Premier, Honourable Lesufi, the DG, Mr. Msuwe, and the team of senior officials. I wish to thank all the members that I have alluded to in the first report, as indicated in that page 7, but also we also want to thank the committee support staff for their dedication, as also alluded in the previous report. I'm not going to repeat that. In accordance with Rule 164 of the Standing Rules of GPL, the committee hereby presents the report for the House for adoption. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Mukwe. Is there a seconder? Honourable Dr. Mketi.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I rise to second the report.
Thank you very much. I now put the question. All those in favour say yes.
Yes.
Those that are not in favour say no. So the yeses have it and the report is adopted. Mokwaledi, tsamaiso e latelang.
Thank you, Speaker. Consideration of the Environment, Agriculture and Rural Development Portfolio Committee's Oversight Report on the first quarterly performance report of the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development for the financial year 2025-2026.
Thank you. Honorable Mulder.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. This quarter performance information report reflects on the performance of the Gauteng Department of Agriculture and Rural Development for the end of quarter 1, that is April to June 2025, against the predetermined annual and quarterly targets outlined in the 2025-25 annual performance plan. The department planned for and reported on a total of 40 indicators at the end of quarter 1. Overall, the department achieved 60% or 24 of its first quarter targets, and 40% or 16 of targets were not achieved for the first quarter. This can be attributed to non-achievement in Programme 1, Administration, and Programme 2, Agriculture and Rural Development. The Gauteng Department of Agriculture and Rural Development spent 165.9 million rand of the quarter appropriation of 175.3 million, which is the equivalent of 94.7% of the budget for the quarter. The administration program overspent their budget and utilised 91.6 million rand of the available 55.1 million, which is 166.2% of the quarter budget. The Sustainable Resource Use and Management Program spent 5 million rand, or overspent as well, of 3.9 million, which is 126.3% of the quarter budget. And the Agriculture Producer Support and Development Program spent 32.1 million of 63.1 million, which is the equivalent of 50.7% of the quarter budget. The department planned for and reported on a total of 40 indicators at the end of quarter 1 overall. And then the department also creates a purchase orders and cash flow challenges, because the departments have split, and these orders should be purchase orders for overhead costs as soon as the contract has ended. For example, the security services contract has been extended until the 14th of October 2025. The department is also currently paying for DED and is claiming back this money. Procurement targets for women, youth, persons with a disability, military veterans and township spend were not achieved in quarter 1. Madam Speaker, although the department targeted business owned by designated groups when requests for procurement smaller than R1 million or less than R1 million are made, the department did not achieve the targets as planned for. The department targets all these groups when requesting for quotations based on these commodities. However, it remains a challenge. As a corrective measure, GDART has sourced a database of companies owned by these categories and plan to solicit bids and RFQs from them in instances where they do not meet requirements in terms of compliance. They are assisted through the Gauteng Provincial Treasury. Plans are underway to profile and support enterprises, and these designated groups will be prioritized in the quarter 2 and onwards. This platform seeks to increase awareness in funding, business management, record keeping, tax, compliance, etc. In relation to hectares of agriculture land rehabilitated and cultivated, no land has been cultivated using conservation agriculture. There were also no green jobs created for quarter 1. The challenges include the late approvals of business plans and transfers to the province by the National Department of Agriculture. GDART has approved the business plans, however, the conditional grant has not been received for the 2025-26 financial year. And GDART has developed an accelerated procurement plan to appoint suitable service providers. Additionally, there are continuous engagements with the National Department of Agriculture with regards to business plans, approvals for hectares of agricultural land rehabilitated, green jobs and hectares of cultivated land under conservation. Agriculture practices, the department managed to develop 13 farm management plans against a quarter target of 30. In the quarter under review, there were less requests from development of farm plans. A process has been undertaken together with Chief Directorate Agriculture to increase the number of farm plans to be developed in Q2. In relation to hectares of agricultural land rehabilitated and cultivated, no land has been cultivated using conservation agriculture. There were also no green jobs for Q2. GDOT has developed accelerated procurement plans to appoint suitable service providers also as far as that is concerned. Additionally, there are continuous engagement with the department on that as well. Annual expenditure to date, the department total allocated budget of 671 million rand. All over the department has spent 166 million rand. That is equivalent of 25% of its total allocated budget for the 2025-26 financial year. The department is to produce a progress report on how payouts of the said grants are resolved. Written responses should be forwarded to the GPL on the resolution as adopted by the House on the 30th of 11/2025. The committee recommends that the department provide a detailed report that will cover the backlog. Written responses should also be forwarded to the House on the 30th of November 2025. The department should also provide a feedback report and plan on how SCM challenges will be addressed, and the written response should also reach the House on the 30th of November 2025. As far as progress reports concerned on the department should provide a progress report on how the human resources and budget separation will be handled since the parting of the two departments are creating challenges. Provide a progress report on allocated budget to fill in the vacant positions on a 3-year contract basis, and also provide a quarterly report on the department's intervention on food and mouth disease outbreak. The Portfolio Committee on Environment, Agriculture and Rural Development wishes to thank the Honourable MEC, the acting head of the department. I also wish to thank and wishes to acknowledge our gratitude towards the honourable members of the Portfolio Committee, and especially also the alternate members. Honourable Speaker, I must say this committee has been attended well, regularly. Furthermore, the Portfolio Committee would like to express appreciation for the contribution of the valued support staff. In terms of Rule 117(2)(c), read together with 164, the Economic Development, Agriculture and Rural Development Portfolio Committee presents the oversight report on the first quarterly performance report of the Gauteng Department of Agriculture and Rural Development for the 2025-26 financial year to the House, and thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Mulder. Is there a seconder? Dr. Muketi?
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I rise to second the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I put the question. All those in favour say yes.
Yes.
Okay. Those that are not in favour say no. Okay, the yeses have it. So the report is adopted. Mokwaledi, tsamaiso e latelang.
Thank you, Speaker. Consideration of the Environment, Agriculture and Rural Development Portfolio Committee's oversight report on the first quarterly performance report of the Department of Environment for the financial year 2025-2026.
Thank you very much. Honourable Mulder.
Thank you once again, Honourable Speaker. The year-to-date effect of budget utilisation translates to Programme 5, and I'll give you a summary. Having utilised 15% of the budget to date and has recorded the highest utilisation figure of the 6 programmes supported by the Gauteng Department of Environment. The Cradle of Humankind at World Heritage Site as well as the Denukeng Nature Reserve attained 19% and 18% respectively of year-to-date budget use, the two entities achieving a combined 67% of the annual performance plans targets in the quarter under review. The committee continues to note that the department's performance in the previous financial years were hampered by various challenges that impacted on their service delivery mandate, and it is important to ensure that these are given the necessary attention. so that the delivery of services is enhanced. These include the infrastructure delivery management system, related challenges that impacted on procurement and tender processes. The committee continued to encourage the department to ensure that the service delivery mandate is achieved. The committee continues to note that the department's performance in the previous financial year were also hampered because of the starting of the separation of the departments. The committee encouraged the department to ensure once again that the delivery mandate is also achieved after the separation. The committee is of the view that the department's critical vacant positions should be filled in order to ensure that the service delivery imperatives are attained. The committee also continuously observed that the department fails to spend its annual budget and never meets its planned targets. Moreover, the separation of the two departments has not been resolved, with some services still shared between the two. As a result, the GDART has to pay for GD environment salaries in the quarter under review. Continuous failure to align its budget with its planned targets as under expenditure is observed in environmental affairs program. Then also the lack of completing of infrastructure projects and spending in goods and services due to tender processes that are being implemented through the open tender system. Honourable Speaker, the lack of restructuring the SCM unit, which continues to undermine the delivery of services by the department, is also a concern. The continuous failure to align this budget with its planned targets is observed and should be attended to. The committee, just one, Honourable Speaker, apologies. The main reasons for exceeding the 15 and 30 days payment targets were due to the following. No payments were processed in April 2025 due to the conversion from V5 to V6, SCO changes allocation, and system issues and creation of new plans for the Gauteng Department of Environment in April 2025. So the late submission of RLS 02 for processing of invoices on time. To mitigate against this, the system challenges were escalated to the Provincial Treasury, and investigation report on the late submission are done monthly. On administration, the core function of the Financial Management Unit in the department is to improve financial accountability and compliance in relation to the set prescripts and regulations. The main reasons for exceeding the 15 and 30 days were due to the following. And I just must stress this, that during the first quarter of the 2025-26 financial year, the department managed to pay 98% of the invoices within 30 days, and 93 of it were received and were paid within 15 days. The Portfolio Committee on Environment, Agriculture and Rural Development wishes to thank the Honourable MEC, the previous Honourable MEC Peters, who served in this term, and the new MEC, Honourable Botha, for their support and their acts, and also for the Portfolio Committee members and the staff. And I should also just want to mention, Honourable Speaker, that it's a real challenge to split departments, and we are really working close together with the two departments to see that it runs smoothly. Furthermore, the committee, in terms of Rule 117(2)(c), read together with 164, the Economic Development, Agriculture and Rural Development Portfolio Committee presents the oversight report on the first quarterly performance report of the Gauteng Department of Environment for the 25-26 financial year, and presents it to the House to be adopted. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Mulder. Is there a seconder? Honourable Moketi.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I rise to second the report.
Thank you. I now put, excuse me. I now put the question. All those in favour say yes. And those that are not in favor say no. So the yeses have it and the report is adopted. Mokwaledi, re kopa tsamaiso e latelang ya botlhano.
Thank you, Speaker. Consideration of the Economic Development Portfolio Committee's Oversight Report on the first quarterly performance report of the Department of Economic Development, including its entities, for the financial year 2025-2026.
Thank you. Honorable Alberts. Honorable Alberts. Honorable Alberts. Okay, honorable members, you are going to have to come back to that order. Yeah. Can we take, Secretary, can you read the 6th order, please?
Thank you, Speaker. Consideration of the Infrastructure Development Portfolio Committee's Oversight Report on the first quarterly performance report of the Department of Infrastructure and Development, including its entities, for the financial year 2025-2026.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Greeting to yourself, our guests, and the people of Gauteng, and all the members. I, Member Ndlovu, hereby tables the committee's oversight report on the first quarterly performance report of the Department of Infrastructure Development and Property Management, including the NTT, for the 2025-26 financial year. Madam Speaker, please allow me that parts of the report that I will not read be regarded as read. The committee acknowledged the significant process and progress that the department has made in achieving its target for procurement and infrastructure development. It was commendable that many targets were met and some exceeded. However, the committee understands there are still areas where targets were not fully achieved, while others were only partially met. The committee is optimistic that with continued effort, it will see improvement in these areas in the remaining quarters of the financial year. The percentage of procurement allocated to black-owned enterprises was achieved at 98.09%. Percentage on black women was achieved at 60.58%. The percentage on persons with disabilities owned enterprises was achieved at 5.45%. The percentage on to youth-owned enterprises was achieved at 53.59%. The percentage on procurement allocated to military-owned veterans was achieved at 2.09%. The allocation to SMMEs was achieved at 93.87%. The percentage on township enterprises was achieved at 30.25%. Percentage on milestone of the approved ICT strategy was achieved at 100%. With regards to the number of new construction projects, one was completed, 10 number of plant maintenance projects were awarded, 5 plant maintenance projects were completed, 2 condition assessments were conducted on state-owned properties, 1,290 number of immovable assets were verified in the asset register. On GIFA, the negotiation plan for guiding negotiation process was developed, and one agreement was concluded with funders as an MOU was concluded between GIFA and Agroplat. The agency sets 24 targets, of which 3 targets were not achieved, thus registering a performance of 88%. It was noted by the committee that the department successfully achieved 15 out of 22 planned targets, which translate to an overall achievement rate of 68%. During the quarter under review, the committee noted that the department was allocated 1.5 billion, but only succeeded in spending 1.3 billion, resulting in a notable under-expenditure of 11%. This indicates a significant shortfall in utilizing the allocated budget effectively. As for Chifa, with the allocation of 17 million, the total expenditure was at 14 million, yielding an 83% spending rate, reflective of a more substantial disparity from the allocated budget. In terms of the annual performance, Chifa is currently operating at a mere 22% expenditure rate. Importantly, both the department and Chifa reported 0 instances of fruitless, wasteful, and irregular expenditures for the quarter, underscoring effective financial governance. While Chifa managed to process payments and all service providers within the stipulated 30-day period, the department achieved this in only 86% of cases, highlighting a deviation from its performance targets in assessing performance metrics. The department achieved a performance rate of 68%, trailing behind the 88% performance exhibited by its entity, Chifa. While the department met its preferential procurement target, it fell short in empowering emerging businesses, managing to support only 10 out of the targeted 100. This significant gap raises concerns to the committee regarding the department's commitment to fostering emerging enterprises within its operational framework. Conversely, Chifa successfully fulfilled all regulatory and policy compliances targets within its primary program, ensuring that all required strategies and plans were duly prepared, presented, and approved during the quarter. With regards to the work opportunities created, the committee noted that a total of 28,411 work opportunities were created, comprising of 7,498 positions sourced through the departments and 20,913 through our municipalities. This metric reflects positively on the efforts made towards job creation, although considerations for enhancing the capacity to empower emerging businesses are crucial moving forward. Program 1 administration set out the targets of 12, out of which 9 were successfully met, resulting in a performance achievement rate of 75%. A significant milestone was reached concerning military veterans, where the actual performance exceeded the target, achieving 2.9% against the target of 2%. This represents a significant improvement, particularly given the department's previous struggle in this area. The department has reported that the delay in processing payments to service providers is primarily due to budget capturing delays that occurred in April 2025. Unfortunately, this has hindered any payment processing for the month of May, leading to a significant backlog of outstanding payments. The committee will focus on monitoring improvements in the domain during the second quarter of the financial year. The program 2, the committee noted with concern that the program demonstrated a lower performance rate, achieving 6 out of 10 targets, manifesting a success rate of 60%. On Chifa, the program 1, it was noted that this program excelled, achieving all set targets at 100% success rate. This is commendable and indicates robust management and operational effectiveness. On program 2, Chifa's project development and compliance program achieved only 4 out of 6 targets, resulting in a 66% performance score. Nonetheless, the approval for the scoring strategy and plan represents a critical step towards greater efficiency and effectiveness in project execution. On program 3, the structured finance, the committee acknowledged that this program demonstrated a performance achievement of 75%, completing 3 out of 4 targeted objectives. Noteworthy accomplishments included the finalization of a negotiation plan, the signing of a memorandum of understanding with Agroplat, and the completion of a feasibility study for the Davidton Hospital project. These developments reflect productive collaboration and indicate a positive trajectory for the future initiatives. Program 3, the expanded public works program. Although the APWP did not set specific targets for the quarter under review, the generation of significant work opportunities illustrate its impact on job creation and community development. This emphasizes the program's importance even in the absence of the quantifiable goals. On resolutions, the committee received all outstanding resolutions, save for one that was due in August 2025. On petitions, we received 2 petitions which are due to be processed in the current quarter. On GOD, the committee noted the summarized information on GOD compliance for the period under review, that women who are at 44% were allocated 60.58% of total procurement spending. The youth, which is at 21%, was allocated 53% of total spending. The disability, people living with disability who are at 2.4%, were allocated 5.45% of the total spending. The committee noted with concern that this program demonstrated a lower performance rate, achieving 6 out of 10 targets, manifesting a success rate of 60%, while the registration of 1,290 properties in the asset register is a notable achievement. On committee findings, with respect to Program 1, the committee is concerned with the underspending of the budget. The committee is also concerned with the pending suspensions of officials within the department. The committee is concerned with the sudden achievement of the military veterans' targets. With respect to Program 2, the delayed projects on rehabilitation, renovation and refurbishment of Tusanang Slabs project remains a concern for the committee, and in relation to GIFA, the delays by the Department of Health in signing the agreements for the roof solar PV project remains a serious concern. On committee recommendations, at which all responses must reach the committee by the 24th of October 2025, the department should proactively address the expenditure under Program 1 and Program 3 and provide measures it will implement to under and over expenditure at the end of the financial year. The department should implement interim measures to ensure operational continuity where pending suspensions and terminations take place within the department. The department should report to the committee with proof of evidence of beneficiaries who benefited under the military veterans target that were achieved, as well as measures it implemented for the sudden change in terms of its performance. The department should put more effort into ensuring that the rehabilitation, renovation and refurbishment of Tusanong Slabs projects are completed and provide a report on the measures it will implement. GIFA should address and mitigate barriers that are delaying the signing of agreements for the rooftop solar PV project and report on the measures to be implemented. On acknowledgements, I would like to thank the MEC, Ms. Mamabulo, the HOD of the department, and the entire executives for their efforts in the consideration of this report. I further appreciate the diligent deliberation of members, Member Makubela, Member Mhlagaza, Member Kumalo, Member Diache, Member Raslingwane, Member Masilela, Member Mahlabe, Member Mure, and Member Adams. And on behalf of the committee, we would like to thank the support team for their dedication and assistance during the process. On adoption, in terms of Rule 117, subsection 2C, read together with Rule 164, the Portfolio Committee on Infrastructure Development and Property Management hereby presents before the House an oversight report of the department, first quarter report for the 2025-2026 financial year for the consideration and adoption. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kunene. Is there a seconder?
I rise to second, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Adams. I now put the question. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Okay, those that are not in favor say no. Okay, the yeses have it and the report is adopted. Honorable members, I just want to remind all of you that when we have a hybrid sitting and you answer your phone in the House, it causes interference and there's feedback, and your conversation is on Hansard. So, and it's done. Mo quality, just a reminder, we could not get Honorable Alberts online. He is now able to connect. Honorable Alberts?
Thank you, Speaker. Consideration of the Economic Development Portfolio Committee's Oversight Report on the first quarterly performance report of the Department of Economic Development, including its entities for the financial year 2025-2026.
Honourable Alberts, you can go ahead. Thank you. Honourable Alberts, you can proceed. Honourable Alberts, you are online. You can proceed, please. Secretary, can we proceed? Can we read the 8th order, please? The 7th order, ne? Yeah. Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you, Chair. Consideration of the Transport and Logistics Portfolio Committee's Oversight Report on the first quarterly performance report of the Department of Roads and Transport, including its entities for the financial year 2025-2026.
Honourable Sneeman.
Thank you very much, Chief Chairs. In the first quarter under review, the Department of Roads and Transport managed to spend 23.82% of its budget. The Transport Authority Gauteng spent 33.92%. G-Fleet spent 14.23%. And in terms of the expenditure per program in the Department of Roads and Transport, the department firstly transferred an amount, or transferred 36.10% of its allocated budget to the Gautrain in the quarter under review. And in the 4 programs of the department, administration spent 23.19% of its budget, transport infrastructure spent 11.38%, transport operations spent 27.65%, and transport regulation spent 19.31%. As at the end of the quarter, the committee noted that the Department of Roads and Transport that the Department of Roads and Transport's remaining budget allocation stood at 76.18%, Transport Authority Gauteng stood at 66.08%, and G-Fleet stood at 85.77%. On the payment of suppliers within 15 to 30 days, the committee noted that the department was able to pay 100% of its suppliers within 30 days, and 99% of invoices were paid within 15 days. Of the 20 annual performance plan targets of the Department of Roads and Transport, and those that were planned for achievement within this first quarter, the department achieved 75% of its targets. The GMA, or Gautrain Management Agency, achieved 90.9% of its targets. G-Fleet managed to achieve 50% of its targets, whilst the Transport Authority Gauteng was able to achieve 100% of its targets. I want to move to the concerns and recommendations, and I should have at the start, Chief Chairs, asked that the sections of the report not be read, be taken as read. Just moving down to the concerns. In terms of the committee's findings and concerns, there are 4, and they are as follows. With regards to the administration program, the committee is concerned over the continued underperformance on the One e-service operationalised as was in the previous quarter. 2, with regards to the transport regulation program, the committee is concerned over the non-surrender of revenue by municipalities, noting the delays that have ensued in entering into service level agreements with municipalities. Also, the state of municipal centres and the operational challenges observed by the committee during its oversight visits to a number of these DLTCs. With regards to the Gautrain Management Agency, the committee is concerned of the deteriorating bus service, or bus services, should I say, due to the insufficient number of available buses and the overall impact on the planned ridership levels of the Gautrain system. And finally, with regards to G-Fleet, the committee is concerned over the huge increase in the average debtors collection days and the impact on the long-term financial sustainability of G-Fleet. With regards to committee's recommendations, which the committee requests be responded to by the 31st of October of this year, firstly, the first is that the department should provide the committee with a detailed report on the implementation of the Department of E-Government plan and adherence to timelines to speed up the process of the one e-service operationalised. Two, that the department should provide the committee with a detailed report on the surrender of revenue by municipalities, and that's in relation to the DLTCs. Three, the department should provide the committee with a detailed report on the progress on the engagement between the MEC for Roads and Transport, Provincial Treasury, COCTA and SALGA on the signing of SLAs with municipalities, or service level agreements. And thirdly, that the department should provide the committee with a detailed report on the implementation plan and progress thereof on addressing the deteriorating bus service due to the insufficient number of available buses to curb the negative impact on the planned ridership levels of the Gautrain system. And the last recommendation is that the department should provide the committee with a detailed report on the payment of outstanding invoices by client departments. This is in relation to G-Fleet. Furthermore, the progress on the engagement of Gauteng Provincial Treasury to assist G-Fleet in the ring-fencing of funds with departments to support timeless payment. Finally, as I draw to a conclusion, would like to express appreciation to all members of the committee for their participation in this particular process. We'd also like to express appreciation to the MEC, the HOD, and all officials from the department. And we'd also like to thank the committee support team for the work they do behind the scenes, often unnoticed, but that was able to ensure that this process was able to be undertaken smoothly. After due consideration, the Roads and Transport Portfolio Committee unanimously adopted the Gauteng Department of Transport and Logistics, Gautrain Management Agency and G-Fleet Management's first quarterly performance report for the 25-26 financial year. In terms of Rule 1172C, read together with Rule 164, the committee presents to this House and recommends the adoption of the committee's oversight report on the Gauteng Department of Transport and Logistics, Gautrain Management Agency and G-Fleet Management's first quarterly performance report for the 2025-2026 financial year. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Schneemann. Can I have a seconder for the report, please? Honourable members. Honourable Tlaba.
I second the report, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Secretary, can you read the 8th order, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Consideration of the E-Government and Research Development Portfolio Committee's oversight report on the first quarterly performance report of the Department of E-Government for the financial year 25-2026.
Thank you, Secretary. Honourable Tlope, you are online. You can go ahead, please. Thank you.
On behalf of Honourable Tlope.
Thank you, Honourable Gentile. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Chair of Chairs. I'm presenting the Portfolio Committee on report on eGov oversight report for the first quarter of the Department of eGov for the financial year 2025-2026. And on introduction, before that, Chair of Chairs, I request that part of the reports that are not read are considered to have been read. On introduction, the eGov and Research Development Portfolio Committee, through the sector oversight model, assesses the financial and non-financial performance of the department against the set targets per quarter. This oversight process seeks to ensure that the department's strategic objectives are aligned with the government priorities. To assess the performance of the department and to monitor effective program implementation, the Portfolio Committee considered the department's performance report, which outlined the objectives, targets, actual performance during the quarter under review. The report further evaluates performance per program to establish whether the allocated resources are utilized efficiently in accordance with the Public Finance Management Act and other applicable laws. On process followed, the Speaker formally referred the quarterly report of the department to the Portfolio Committee
for consideration and reporting. The committee researcher tabled the analysis of performance to the committee, and the department led by the MEC presented the quarterly performance report to the portfolio committee, focusing on the departmental financial and non-financial performance. And after due deliberations on the 12th of September, the committee adopted unanimously the performance quarterly oversight report. On summary, the department is mandated to implement the e-government strategy of the Gauteng City region, which aims to consolidate back-end system process to bring about efficient frontline service delivery to Gauteng province community. This is achieved through the development of ICT policies, standards, and the rollout of the GBN, which connects all government buildings and various public service access points in the province. The department responds to 3 GGT priorities that are linked to the NDP through building a capable, ethical, and developmental state economy, jobs, infrastructure, and lastly, education and skills revolution and health. Targets are set to realize outcomes in response to the national and provincial priorities. And as per the approved annual performance plan, the department implements its projects through the 3 programs, which are namely administration, ICT shared services, and human resources. The core function of the department is implemented in program 2, which is the ICT shared services. It is under this program that the department modernizes the provincial ICT infrastructure through the rollout of the GBN project. Other outputs of the programs are to reduce crime through ICT services, strengthening of ICT governance, and stimulating the ICT industry and entrepreneurship. The department is appropriated an amount of 1,541,480,000 for this particular financial year. Projected for the first quarter is 450,983,000, and the department would have spent in this first quarter 449,233,521, which amounts to 22% of the budget, overspending of 36% of the total budget in this quarter. The over expenditure is due to financial obligations to Microsoft for the preceding years. Procurement spending on GOD target is reported to be at 70% on women, 2% on people living with disability, 35% on youth, and procurement of township economy stood at 60%. However, it is not clearly indicated which specific services were procured under which category in what is then reported. The underperformance is recorded in Program 1, Administration, Program 2, ICT. Notable underperformance is in Program 1 is mainly on GOD targets, especially employment of people with disabilities, procurement, budget spent on companies owned with people, by people with disabilities, payment of suppliers, invoices within 15 days of receipt of invoices, and procurement spent on township economy. This underperformance has been recurring since the previous financial year, despite the department's commitment to implement solutions in the response of the House resolutions. This trend suggests that the remedial actions undertaken are ineffective in addressing the identified challenges and undermine the provincial policy on township economy and inclusive representation. Similarly, targets on implementing of the internal GOD program are not met. The department did not implement planned programs on disability management training program related to the Youth Month. The reason for the deviation is reported to be delayed administration duties. Even after probing the delays could not be defined, the Youth Tech Expo could also not be implemented due to no funding allocated for the activity. The department could also not provide remedial plans to cap the deviation reported on the delays. This deviation underscores the importance of GOD programs as per the access of jobs, gender plans, as well as youth participation to ensure effective participation and implementation. And on the summary on the department's GGT priorities, There's been, on building capable ethical development, there's been 6 e-service development and 40 were tested, 2 data open set published, 5 data analytics. And then I want to quickly go to committee concerns, or rather before that, on APPs, 25 were set, 18 were achieved, which is 72. Previously, it was 63. And we are raising these concerns as the committee. These are the committee concerns. The portfolio committee is concerned about non-facilitation and implementation of GOD programs due to delays in administration duties, the delays in facilitation of recruitment process of people with disabilities, the delays in project site completion due to fatalism, the misalignment of project and financial planning which led to non-implementation of youth tech expo due to funding. And these are the recommendations. The department should strengthen its administration and operation processes to prevent delays and hinder the implementation of GOD programs per plan, as these programs are aimed at developing identified groups. The department should expedite recruitment processes for people living with disabilities to meet the internal targets and to give full effective department's mandate to promoting inclusivity and equitability. The department should engage CITA and JV to amend all the GBN contractual agreements to include binding clauses and safeguard the project suits until official handover to the client. The department should desist from setting unfunded targets and align projects plan with financial plans, and written response should then be given to the committee by the 24th of September. On acknowledgements, the chairperson wishes to acknowledge the MEC and the HOD and appreciation and diligence and dedication committed by all members of the committee, and the gratitude extended to all committee support staff. And on adoption, in terms of Rule 117, Sub-Rule 2C, read together with Rule 164 of the Standing Rules of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, the eGov and Research Development Portfolio Committee presents the oversight report of the first quarter performance of the Gauteng Department of eGov for the financial year 2024-2026 and recommends its adoption. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Gentile. Can I have a seconder for the report, please, honourable members? Can you rise, honourable member, and second, please?
Thank you very much, Chair. I stand to second the report.
Thank you, honourable member. Secretary, can you read the 9th order, please?
Thank you, Chair. Consideration of the Finance Portfolio Committee's oversight report on the first quarterly performance report of the Gauteng Provincial Treasury for the financial year 2025-2026.
Thank you, Secretary. Honourable Musai.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Go ahead.
Just want to, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Honourable Musai.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair. I've switched on my video, but I'll switch it off. I wanted to confirm I'm in the House. Just want to request that the House recognizes that the parts that I have not read should be accepted as having been read. Thank you. As at the end of the first quarter, the administration program achieved 2 of its 4 planned performance targets. The targets achieved include strengthening compliance with legislative prescripts by ensuring that all 127 supplier invoices received during the quarter were paid within the prescribed 30-day timeframe, and monitoring the implementation of GOD programs and submitting the requisite report to the Office of the Premier. However, performance fell short on 2 key targets. The department is challenged in meeting the 50% target for the appointment of women in senior management service positions. Currently, 48% of the SMS posts are held by women. Gauteng Provincial Treasury reported that vacant SMS positions remain and recruitment processes are underway to address this gender representation gap. In addition, only 5% out of 840 of youth were placed in development programs against a target of 10%. This underperformance was attributed to delays resulting from cost containment measures, which necessitated restarting the recruitment process. The recruitment process has since resumed and is expected to be concluded in the second quarter. Expenditure for the program amounted to 108% of the quarterly allocation and 23% of the annual budget on a year-to-date basis, marking a program with the highest expenditure of all programs. Of the 6 performance targets set under the Sustainable Fiscal Resource Management Program for the quarter under review, the majority were successfully achieved apart from 2. The targets met including completing and submitting 100% of assessment reports on planning documents submitted by the departments within the legislated timelines, ensuring that cash requisitions totaling 41.7 billion did not exceed the available provincial liquid assets of 42.8 billion, comprising provincial revenue fund cash, cash equivalents, and external investments, consolidating and submitting 3 in-year monitoring reports for departments to the National Treasury, and consolidating and submitting 10 IYM reports for public entities to the National Treasury. Underperformance was recorded against the indicator relating to the publication of the Gazette on the main appropriation. This was due to the retabling of the provincial budget on the 3rd of June 2025, which necessitated the withdrawal of the initial Gazette. A revised Gazette aligned to the retabled budget is scheduled for publication in the second quarter. Additionally, the performance target relating to the appointment of a debt collection agency was not achieved. This was due to a change in the procurement approach from appointing a single service provider to establishing a panel of providers, as the contract is intended to cover transversal services. To address this, a new procurement process has commenced and the terms of reference have been drafted to facilitate the appointment. As at the end of the quarter, the program had spent 85% of its quarterly appropriation and 19% of its total annual allocation on a year-to-date basis. The financial governance program had 5 performance targets earmarked for this quarter, and all performance targets were achieved. The performance targets are associated with ensuring 100% submission of annual financial statements by the GPG departments, ensuring 100% submission of annual financial statements by GPG entities, a departmental 30-day suppliers payment compliance report was produced, and 5 audit committee cluster meetings were held. Of importance under this program, GPT reported that due to mandatory requirements that all suppliers doing business with GPG should register with the invoice management system, 100% of the supplier invoices were submitted electronically as opposed to the planned 95%. This program spent 100% of the allocated budget of 277 million in the first quarter and 22% progressively. In the same vein, the supply chain management program achieved all the 4 performance targets earmarked for the quarter under review. The performance targets relate to producing a preferential procurement spending report on the spend towards township-based suppliers and designated groups in Gauteng, providing 2 supplier development initiatives to Gauteng township-based suppliers and companies owned by designated groups, producing 100% supply chain management compliant register for the departments, and producing 100% supply chain management compliant register for entities. The appropriation for the program during the quarter under review amounts to 24.915 million, and expenditure stood at 84% or 22% year to date. Similarly, the municipal financial management program achieved all 9 of its planned performance targets for the quarter. These targets include tracking 100% of intergovernmental relations engagement recommendations and resolutions at delegated municipalities, delivering a structured and targeted capacity building initiative to municipalities, tracking 100% of MFMA compliance assessment recommendations at delegated municipality, conducting 8 assessments on table budgets of delegated municipality, completing 100% of assessment reports on the implementation of submitted budget funding plans for municipalities with unfunded budgets, publishing a gazette on provincial grants allocated to Gauteng municipalities, tracking 100% of recommendations under the Municipal Financial Hands-on Support Program at delegated municipalities, and producing 100% of assessment reports on annual financial statements submitted by delegated municipalities. The sole performance target planned under the Gauteng Audit Service Program was successfully achieved. This target entails tracking the implementation of 100% of internal audit recommendations across departments and trading entities. Expenditure for the program amounted to 94% of the quarterly allocation and 23% of the total annual budget on a year-to-date basis. To conclude, it should be noted that GPT did not include any reflection on major strategic risk or requests for intervention pertaining to its annual performance plan budget or quarterly performance in the report. The committee is therefore concerned with respect to sustainable fiscal resource management that the delayed appointment of the debt collection panel could hinder effective debt management and revenue recovery, potentially impacting fiscal sustainability. And with respect to municipal finance management, the Portfolio Committee noted with concern that sustainability of the debt reduction gains remains uncertain without clear mechanisms or agreements to institutionalize prompt intergovernmental payments. The committee therefore recommends that GPD should submit a detailed plan with timelines on how it will prioritize the procurement and appointment of the debt collection panel to strengthen debt recovery mechanisms and improve cash flow and management, and that GPD should devise and submit a strategy to institutionalize debt repayment mechanism between GPG departments and municipalities, possibly through service level agreements or intergovernmental protocols. The Portfolio Committee extends gratitude to the Honorable MEC Maile, the head of the department, Ms. N. Mnyani, as well as senior officials from the GPT for their cooperation during the consideration of the report. Appreciation for diligence, dedication, and commitment shown during deliberations on the first quarter performance report goes to all members of the Finance Portfolio Committee. The committee also extends its extended gratitude to the support staff. After due consideration, the Finance Portfolio Committee unanimously adopted the first quarter performance report of the Gauteng Provincial Treasury for the 2025-26 financial year. In terms of Rule 117, subsection 2C, read with Rule 164, the Finance Portfolio Committee presents to this House and recommends the adoption of the committee's oversight report on the first quarter performance report on the Gauteng Provincial Treasury for the 2024-25-26 financial year. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Musai. Can I have a seconder for the report, please, honourable members?
Chair Nzi Khumalo on virtual. I hereby second.
Thank you, Honourable Khumalo. Secretary, can you read the 10th order, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Consideration of the Finance Portfolio Committee's oversight report on the first quarterly performance report of the Gauteng Provincial Government for the 2025-2026 financial year.
Thank you so much, Honourable Musai. You may go ahead for your second report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair, and greetings to all the honourable members and Ba'ahiba Gauteng. The cash management position of the GPG department shows that the GPG's cash receipts accounted to 42.8 billion, or 25% of the budgeted provincial receipts. Budgeted provincial receipts consist of 33.4 billion in equitable share, 76.8 million in provincial financing, 7.8 billion in conditional grants, and 1.22 billion in own revenue. Ideally, cash requisitions should be at 42.8 billion, or 25% of appropriated provincial budget by the end of June 2025. However, GPG department's requisition for 1.7 billion, or 24.3%, whilst cash outflows totaled 41.7 billion, including direct charges, which of the political office bearers amounting to 15.9 million expenditure year to date. It reveals that provincial receipts amounting to 1.1 billion remains unspent. It is worth noting that revenue collection as per the appropriation for the 2025-26 financial year was projected at 8.3 billion as at the end of the first quarter. 1.2 billion, or 15%, was collected. which represent an undercollection of 10% relative to the straight line projection of 25%. The least performing departments are roads and transport, which collected 511 million or 9.3% against its appropriated target of 5.4 billion. Most GPG departments recorded collection rate equal and greater than 20%. The economic development collected 287 million or 20% against its appropriated target of 1.3 billion, thus under collecting by 10%. The Department of Health collected a commendable 25.7% against a targeted 614 million, while Gauteng Provincial Treasury collected an impressive 28.8%. Other revenue generating departments collected a combined 46 million or 34.2%. At the end of the quarter under review, the total expenditure of GPG departments stood at 43.4 billion, representing 25% of the total budget of 172.3 billion. The 25% expenditure is in line with the benchmark. Most departments displayed satisfactory levels of expenditure, save for the Department of Environment, Human Settlements, Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation, and the Office of the Premier, which recorded an appalling expenditure rate of 9%, 10%, 15%, and 15% respectively. On the other hand, over-expenditure is projected at the end of the financial year for the Departments of Education, Infrastructure and Development, Community Safety and Health and Wellness. For the quarter under review, 7 departments achieved 100% compliance with both 15 and 30-day payment to suppliers, while for 30-day payment compliance per department for GPG township-based suppliers, 10 departments achieved 100% compliance. For the current financial year, goods and services is allocated 35.6 billion and year-to-date expenditure is 9.6 billion or 28%, with a projected over-expenditure of 917.3 million at the end of the financial year. Of the top 10 goods and services, over-expenditure is projected on health-related items such as medicine, property payments, contractors, computer services, operating leases, and consultants. On the contrary, under-expenditure is projected under learner, teacher, support material, medical supplies, and agency and support outsourced services. The total budget for compensation of employees for the 2025-26 financial year is 105.6 billion. It accounts for 61% of the overall GPG budget. At the end of the quarter, expenditure stood at 26 billion or 24.6%. It is forecasted that GPG departments would overspend by 283.2 million at the end of the financial year, while it is expected that other departments would underspend. With regards to conditional grants, expenditure of 5.996 billion or 21% was realized at the end of the first quarter against the main budget of 28.9 billion. Some departments spent equal and greater than 20%, while others spent less than 10% of their allocated. The total expenditure for conditional grants is below the 25% Treasury benchmark by 4%. The only departments that reach the requisite expenditure levels of 25% are social development, community safety and education, followed by health at 24.2% and roads and transport at 21.4%. For the provision of the new infrastructure and then maintenance of the existing infrastructure assets, the allocation for infrastructure delivery stood at 12.9 billion, an expenditure of 1.9 billion or 15% was recorded. Most departments spent below 20% of the allocated infrastructure budget, and the departments of social development, health and wellness, agriculture and education account for 34%, 33%, 28% and 21% individually. An assessment of the financial performance of GPG departments in the first quarter reveals that the province remains within acceptable spending levels, though projected overspending poses a fiscal risk if not contained. The main pressures are concentrated in the departments of health and education due to accruals, compensation pressures, and service delivery obligations. Revenue performance requires stronger enforcement, particularly regarding outstanding motor vehicle license fees and patient fee recovery. The Portfolio Committee recommends sustained cost containment measures, enhanced revenue recovery strategies, and strict expenditure monitoring to ensure that fiscal stability and service delivery throughout the 2025-26 financial year. The committee's concern is about the following departments: the Department of Human Settlement, that the impact in terms of the delayed finalization of the MOUs with GPF and municipality to transfer funds would have on service delivery. In terms of Department of Health, the portfolio committee is concerned about the escalating overspending risk in the Department of Health and subsequently incurring unauthorized expenditure. In terms of Department of Community Safety, the portfolio committee is concerned about the apparent lack of tight financial controls in the department to prevent the rollover of debt into future budgets. In terms of the Department of Infrastructure Development, the portfolio is concerned that the department took a decision to defer payments to municipalities and redirect some of the earmarked funds to pressure areas. The portfolio committee noted with concern that of the 14.6 million total conditional grants budget allocated to the DID for the expanded public works program, no expenditure was recorded. In terms of Gauteng Provincial Treasury, the portfolio committee is concerned about the long-term affordability of the expenditure trends in goods and services and the risk of diverting funds from other critical service delivery priorities. In terms of agriculture and rural development, the extremely low level of expenditure concerns the portfolio committee is therefore concerned that the department's ability to implement its planned grant-funded programs and projects. Sports, arts, and culture and education, we are concerned about the impact of persistent SCM inefficiencies on grant performance and service delivery. The committee therefore recommends that the Human Settlement Department must develop and submit plans to establish a dedicated task team to streamline engagements between the department, municipalities, and entities like the GPF to ensure quicker alignment of project plans and responsibilities. That the Department of Health must submit and implement a cost containment plan detailing corrective measures in key overspending areas like compensation of employees, procurement of medicines and consumables, medical legal claims, and accrual management. The Department of Community Safety must submit a proposal on how it will implement monthly accrual monitoring and reporting to restore financial discipline and prevent unauthorized commitments. The Department of Infrastructure should develop and submit a payment recovery plan that is realistic, time-bound, prioritizes municipalities that are financially vulnerable, and communicate the plan formally to all affected municipalities. And it should submit a grant performance recovery plan with clear timelines, responsible officers, and monthly targets for project initiating, recruitment of participants, and disbursement of wages and project costs. In terms of the Gauteng Provincial Treasury, it should submit a plan detailing how it will ensure that tight expenditure controls and monitoring and the mechanism are instituted within the department with specific focus on high-risk goods and services, and that the Department of Agriculture and Rural should develop.
As you move for adoption, please, Honourable Masai.
The portfolio committee extends gratitude to the Honourable MEC and also to all the members of the committee and the staff. After due consideration, the Finance Portfolio Committee adopted the first quarter financial performance report on the Gauteng Provincial Government for 2025-26 financial year in terms of Rule 117, subsection 2C, read through 164. The Finance Portfolio Committee presents to this House and recommends adoption of the committee's oversight report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Masai. Can I have a seconder, please, honourable members?
I second, Chair.
Thank you, honourable member. Honourable members, can I ask you humbly that if you are talking to each other, that you do it on a lower tone, please? You are humbly asked that because, especially when people are online, it's very difficult to follow them. Secondly, the next order will be read, but before we read that, Honourable Chokwe is going to be replaced. In fact, Honourable Mechwe will read it. But I want to announce that Honourable Chokwe is receiving his second PhD with the University of Limpopo today. And I think we can give him a hand. Thank you so much. Secretary, can you read the next order, please?
Thank you, Chair. Consideration of the Social Development Portfolio Committee's oversight report on the first quarterly performance report of the Department of Social Development for the financial year 2025-2026.
Thank you, Secretary. Honourable Mechwe, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair of Chairs. I stand on the established protocols.
Sorry, Honourable members, I'm going to ask again. Please, if we can just lower the tone. I'm not saying you can't talk, but I'm saying just lower the tone of your voices. Thank you. Go ahead, please, Honourable Mechwe. Thank you.
I stand on the established protocols on behalf of Dr. Squet Chokwe, the Chairperson of Portfolio Committee on Social Development. Hereby tables the committee report on the first quarter report of the Gauteng Department of Social Development for 2025-26 financial year as follows. The mandate of the Department of Social Development is broad and cross-cutting and centers on the provision of social protection services to the vulnerable, to lead government efforts of forging partnerships through which vulnerable individuals, groups, and communities become capable and self-reliant participants in their own development. The Department continues to accelerate efforts to support and strengthen NPOs deemed to be not compliant through provision of financial and technical support to be affected NPO to ensure they deliver on their mandate more effectively. During the period under review, the Department capacitated 132 NPOs, and the training program focused on the importance of good governance, legislative compliance, organizational sustainability, and functionality, while 21,808 welfare-to-work beneficiaries were prioritized in all skills development endeavors, and the program has progressively upscaled and transitioned youths, persons with disabilities, women and their dependents who are on welfare into employment, as well as provide further education opportunities. Chair of Chairs, consider those areas that I will not read as read. For example, on that page, I indicate the process that has been followed. On oversight on department financial performance, during the 25-26 financial year, the department has been allocated an amount of 5 billion. During the quarter under review, the department managed to spend 1.2 billion across all programs, representing 23% of the allocated budget by the quarter under review. In relation to the expenditure per program, the committee acknowledged that on program 1, they managed to spend 182 million, representing about 101% by the end of the quarter under review. On program 2, the department spent 195 million, representing 78% of the allocated budget. On program 3, they spent 515 million, representing 93% of the allocated budget. On program 4, spent 169 million, representing 82% of the allocated budget. On program 5, spent 168 million, representing 84% of the allocated budget. Department's achievements, the committee acknowledged that on procurement targets that are related to historical disadvantaged individuals, the department managed to spend 92.23%. On women, the department spent 47.87%, while on youth, the department has spent 29.71%, while on persons with disabilities, the spending was at 0.87%. The committee further acknowledged that the department reported to have paid 97.94% on its service providers within 30 days and 91.70% was paid within 15 days. On township economy, the department reported to have spent 41.75% during the quarter under review. The committee was concerned and engaged the department on 2 occasions, on the 28th of August and 18 September 2025, and the purpose of those meetings was to look at the concerns and findings of the committee as it relates to insourcing of critical services in the centers that are managed by the department. The committee is pleased with the progress made by the department on matters related to insourcing of security, catering, gardening and laundry services on all the centers that are managed by the department. The committee will further monitor the progress and make sure that all services are insourced in all government-owned institutions. The committee would like to thank the MEC for Social Development, Honorable Faith Mazibuko, the acting head of the department, Ms. Pumla Sikhonyane, and the officials of the department. I would like to express my appreciation to members of the committee, Honorable Kaba, Ntseche, Mikhwe, Abrahams, Mure, Sasasnyana, Simatla, Matsebatela, who is just joined the meeting now, Events, Mukwanazi, for their commitment to the oversight process. I commend them for their diligence during deliberations on the first quarter of 25-26 financial year. We would like to thank Ms. Zuziwe Panzambalo, Mr. Sipongwala, Dr. Sekina Nemweli, Ms. Nontlantla Chikolo, Mr. John Muloi, Ms. Dimakatsongwenya Nomveliso Ntlebi, Mr. Kuligani Kulu, and Mr. A.B. Mokoka for their dedication in assisting the committee to achieve its mandate. After extensive deliberation, the Social Development Committee adopted the first quarter performance report on the Department of Social Development for the 25-26 financial year in accordance with Rule 117 sub 2 sub C, read together with Rule 164, the Social Development Referral Committee tables the report to the House for consideration and adoption, considering the concerns made in the report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Mechwe. Honourable members, can I have a seconder for the report, please? Deputy Chief Whip.
I second, Chairs.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Secretary, can you read the next order, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Consideration of the Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Portfolio Committee's Oversight Report on the first quarterly performance report of the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs for the financial year 2025-2026.
Thank you, Secretary. Honourable Mzikamalo, you're online. Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Chair of Chair, and good afternoon to honourable members. Right from the beginning, the parts of the report that have not been read will request that they should be taken as read. We're providing a summary. The Portfolio Committee noted that the department first quarterly performance report shows that there was an expenditure of 190 million and 600,000, which constitute 84% against a quarterly allocation of 140 million 900,000 rands. The variance reported is 23 million and 300,000 rands, which constitutes 60%. In terms of the main appropriation of the expenditure to date, the department has spent about 22% of its annual budget of 2025-2026 financial year. The department reported that the conditional grants were not transferred to municipalities due to misalignment of financial years. Furthermore, the department did not process 100% of invoices with stipulated 15 days as prescribed by legislation. The department convened quarterly operation clean audit provincial coordination committee workshops with all municipalities to assess the audit readiness and provide advisory support audit preparation plan. The review of white paper on local government was launched on the 19th of May 2025 to initiate a formal engagement process with the public regarding the draft. There have been extensive engagement between the National Department of COGTA, provinces and other stakeholders to shape the discussions and outcome of the review process. On the risk management, inability to effectively support municipalities to be financially viable due to persistent adoption of unfunded budget and failure to address the audit action plans and inadequate support for municipal service delivery on infrastructure projects due to capital expenditure and even sustainable development grant, water and also water infrastructure, as well as poor support for local economic development in municipalities were also reported. In terms of the committee findings, administrative program, it underperformed with 75%. It underperformed and achieved only 54%. Nearly half of the planned target were not achieved. It only achieved 4 of the 7 targets, indicating potential inefficiency in execution, resources allocation, or internal coordination. UIFW expenditure weaknesses in the city of Johannesburg. The need for additional capacity to develop internal controls indicates persistent vulnerability in financial management, particularly around unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure. The department underperformed by 119,647,000, which constitute about 3% against 142,939,000 rand, which is 25%. Quarterly expenditure benchmark, which is permissible by legislation, however, indicating slow execution, utilized 119,064,000 against the main budget, which is 300,000. In terms of the recommendations of the committee, based on the information set out here in above, as well as committee consent, the committee therefore recommends as follows. 1, that the department should review internal workflows and approve cycles to reduce delays and improve responsiveness in ensuring that all targets planned in the program are achieved. And this must be reported to the committee by the 31st of the month of the 10th, 2025. All of this that I'm going to be read should be reported by then, and they must be in a written form. The department must ensure that the City of Johannesburg develop a real-time dashboard to track UIFW trends, root causes, and corrective actions across all the department in the municipality. The department should develop a Q2 catch-up plan with clear milestone prioritizing high-impact, time-sensitive activities to ensure minimum spending of appropriated budget. The department must also ensure that the cash flow projections are aligned with the implementation schedules to avoid mismatches and delay. I, as the chairperson of the committee, would like to acknowledge Mr. MEC J. Mamabulo, the head of department, Dr. Bartley, and his team. I also want to acknowledge all the honorable members who are really doing their best to ensure the success of the committee. Their names are stated as such in the report. Also for their diligence and their support, we want to thank all the staff that is allocated to the committee. Their names have been stated as such in the report. We want to thank you very much for the sacrifices you're doing. Insofar as adoption is concerned, in terms of Rule 117 2C read together with 164, the Portfolio Committee on COGTA present the oversight report on the first quarterly performance report of the Gauteng Department of COGTA for 2025-2026 financial year and recommends for its adoption to the House. Thank you very much, Chair of Chairs.
Thank you, Honourable Kumalo. Can I have a seconder, please, honourable members?
I rise to second the report.
Thank you, Honourable Mr. Manga. Secretary, can you read the 13th order, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Consideration of the Human Settlement Portfolio Committee's oversight report on the first quarterly performance report of the Department of Human Settlements, including its entities for the financial year 2025-2026.
Dr. Mokheti, you can present your report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair of Chairs, and greetings to the honorable members and to our people of Gauteng. As the chairperson of the Human Settlement, I'll be presenting the report on behalf of the Portfolio Committee, and it will be a summarized version, Chair of Chairs, and request that the House take the parts of the report that I'm not going to table as tabled. The Portfolio Committee noted that the department main appropriation budget was 6 billion for the period under review. The total expenditure for the department amounted to 598.7 million of the total budget. The department reported under expenditure due to the DORA bill not being enacted and transfers to entities not processed as planned for Q1. The department projected an expenditure of 2.1 billion for the quarter under review and spent 598.7 million. The department has underspent its quarterly allocation by 72%. The department planned to achieve 21 targets across its 4 programs. 13 targets were fully achieved, whilst 2 targets were partially achieved and 6 targets were not achieved and are at various stages of implementation. The committee noted the performance of the department is beginning to show some improvement, with 61.9% of the first quarter targets achieved as compared to the previous financial year, with 55% achieved during the same period. The department service delivery programs implemented through 4 key programs allocated the budget as follows. For the period ending 30 June 2025, Program 1 was allocated 129 million and the department spent 159 million. The overspending was due to goods and services, which included the AG's costs, computer services and legal services. Program 2 was allocated 32 million and the department managed to spend 28 million. Program 3 was allocated 1.9 billion, but the department spent 389, registering a variance of 1.5 billion. The under expenditure in Program 3 is attributed to the budget not being enacted, resulting in the department not being able to effect transfers to municipalities. And Program 4 was allocated 73 million and the department spent 21 million. The under expenditure in Program 4 is attributed to the budget not being enacted, resulting in the department not being able to effect the transfers. Furthermore, the department noted that the Gauteng Partnership Fund, abbreviated as GPF, planned to achieve 7 targets. 4 targets were achieved, 1 was partially achieved and 2 were not achieved. For the quarter under review, the GPF has achieved an overall performance for 2025-2026 financially 57.1%. The Portfolio Committee expressed concern that during oversight to Palm Ridge, Ward 61 in Ekurhuleni, there was no water due to damaged and vandalized of water infrastructure provided. Furthermore, the committee noted an improvement on the first quarterly performance report as compared to the previous financial year. Coming to the concerns and findings, the Portfolio Committee noted with concern that the high rate of vacancy in the department is a serious concern. The Portfolio Committee expressed concern that during its oversight visit to Palm Ridge, Ward 61 in Ekurhuleni, there was no water due to damaged and vandalized of water infrastructure provided and the vandalism of all installed infrastructure. On the third concern, the Portfolio Committee noted with concern that the security contract on site at Chris Hani Extension 3 and 5 at Twatwa will be ending soon. There is a lack of reporting regarding the percentage of service sites, and that has been released to beneficiaries under the Rapid Land Release Program. The target of the quarter under review was 20%. However, this target was not achieved as the department recorded a 0% achievement. The failure to meet this target is primarily attributed to the low turnout of beneficiaries to the scheduled allocation days. The Portfolio Committee is concerned that while the target for the number of approved beneficiaries allocated quality assured housing unit was set at 100%, the actual achievement was 94.61%. The shortfall is attributed to the low uptake, especially on dispensation implementation for the sinkholes in Kuzong Township. On the recommendations, the department should submit a plan on how to intend to reducing the vacancy rate to an acceptable level. This should be done by the 31st of October 2025. The department should urgently address the non-availability of water supply and restoration of damaged and vandalized infrastructure. Furthermore, the department should provide a report on when will the security be placed on site to avoid vandalism. This should be done by the 31st of October 2025. Provide measures in place to ensure that there will be security on site when the contract ends to avoid invasion and vandalism of infrastructure at Chris Hani, Extension 3 and 5 at Twatwa in Ekurhuleni. This should be done by the 31st of October 2025. The department should strengthen beneficiary outreach to improve turnout on allocation days and clearly quantify the 20% target to ensure effective tracking and accountability. This should be done by the 31st of October 2025. The department should provide reasons behind the low uptake, the special dispensation for sinkhole victims in Kuzong, and outline the steps being taken to address these challenges. Additionally, it would also be helpful for the department to indicate whether adequate communication and engagement with beneficiaries took place to ensure that they were well informed and be able to access the support offered. This should be done by the 31st of October 2025. On acknowledgement, Chair of Chairs, the Human Settlement Portfolio Committee wishes to thank the MEC for Human Settlement, MEC Mutara, the head of the department, Ms. P. Khadebe Mbaso, and her team. The chairperson further wishes to acknowledge and express her gratitude to the honorable members of the Portfolio Committee on Human Settlements, Member Schneemann, Member Gentile, Member Shirota, Member Duplessis, Member Fuchs, Member El Masilela, Member Abrahams, Member Masabe, Member Miso, and Member More. Furthermore, the Portfolio Committee would like to express appreciation for the contribution of the following support staff members: Group Committee Coordinator, Ms. Z. Mpanjombalo, Senior Researcher, Ms. S. Nenweli, Committee Researcher, Ms. A. Kwabeni, Senior Committee Coordinator, Ms. J. Mutiki, Committee Administrator, Ms. N. Zimakwe, Service Officer, Ms. P. Qimba, Hansard Recorder, Mr. N. Mbonani, Senior Information Officer, Mr. Lebogang Ngube, Media Officer, Ms. Z. Mtsweni, and Triple P Office, Ms. R. Matebula, for their dedication and commitment. On adoption in terms of Rule 172C, read with 164, the Human Settlement Portfolio Committee presents the oversight report for the first quarter performance of the Gauteng Department of Human Settlement for the 2025-2026 financial year and its recommendations for adoption. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mokheti. Can I have a second, please, honorable members?
I rise to second.
Thank you, Honorable Moriarty. Honorable Sirota. Thank you so much. You look like brothers. Okay, thank you so much. Can you read the next order, please, Secretary?
Thank you, Chair. Consideration of the Health and Wellness Portfolio Committee's oversight report on the first quarterly performance report of the Department of Health, including its entities for the financial year 2025-2026.
Thank you so much, Secretary. Advocate Lutswalo, you can present your report, sir.
Thank you very much, Chair. Allow me to also appreciate the residents of Gauteng, those that are following the deliberations, those that are in the gallery. Special greetings to the students of Rosebank College. I think we are mostly appreciative of their presence here today. We firmly believe in the ANC, that you are today and tomorrow's leaders. So your presence here, I think it's testimony to that effect.
Continue, Honorable Advocate.
Allow me, Chair, to present the students of Rosebank. It's nothing wrong. Allow me, Chair, to, owing to the limitation of time, to present the report summatively. In the interest of time, I'll start with the executive summary. The total appropriation budget for the Department of Health in respect of the 2025-2026 financial year stood at 67 billion. And as of the reporting period, the department has thus far spent 17 billion, representing 25.5% of the total budget and equaling an aggregate of 61% of achievement of targets or targets that would have been achieved. The department would have set 71 targets, and of the 71, 43 would have been achieved, which equals what I would have just stated, 61%, and 28 targets would not have been achieved, representing 39% of non-achievement. I think that's the most crucial take-home, so that it can be built into the psyche of the residents of Gauteng. Patterns of underspending as well as overspending have been observed in the department's program during the quarter under review. For instance, overspending has been observed on administration, which stands at 38.5. Administration, everybody. And then district health services stands at 26.6%. And then health facilities management stands at 32.7%. And amongst those that are within target, it's healthcare support services. So the department has done relatively well there, standing at 24.8%. And this is just but for one quarter. So it's not an annual reading. So let's not make a mistake that it's for all other quarters, but it's specifically for this specific one. The committee is also noting an improvement of performance, even though targets may not have been holistically met, and further improvement need to be done to collate target performance against the budgetary spend. So there has got to be that convergence between budgetary spends and the actualization of the programs. The committee has noted that the administration program continues to experience overspending, although there has been an improvement in performance compared to the previous financial year. The department attributes the overspending primarily to the payment of legal fees, claims against the state, costs associated with government garage vehicles. While the committee acknowledges notable progress in the management of medical legal claims, and this is but one significant area where the department has pushed back, we're now seeing a lowering of the total aggregation of the bill there, attributed to the implementation of a mitigation strategy. It recommends ongoing monitoring and further strengthening of this strategy to reduce such claims even further, with the ultimate goal of complete eradication. I think we can see the vista. It looks promising that sooner from where we are, we'll see a total eradication of the medical legal claims bill. The committee further notes that the patient safety incident, so this is where unplanned, unforeseeable occurrences happen in the course of delivery of healthcare services. Was in that the target was not achieved in both the previous as well as the quarter under review, which is a concern for the committee. This shortfall is attributed to the delayed reporting of cases in some of our facilities. It's something that, as part of our oversight function, we're following through to ensure that all the health facilities do report on time and as expected, as per the prescribed template. I quickly want to take the residents of the Gauteng into conference about the financial. So the department had projected that it would spend under this quarter 20.2 billion. And yet what we already have reported is that they've spent 17 billion, which brings the total percentage, as earlier stated, to 25.5 of the overall appropriation budget. Navigating the programs, program one, because the department has got 8 programs. Program number 1, which is administration, and I think I would have dealt with that. Administration spent 736.8, exceeding the 663.5, which was allocated for the quarter under review, marking 38.5 expenditure on the allocated budget for the financial year. The over expenditure resulted from the accruals from the previous years and payment of medical legal claims and machinery. I would have stated that point. Program 2, district health services spent 6.6 billion, exceeding the 6 billion which was allocated for the quarter under review, marking 26.6 expenditure. The over expenditure here is mainly incurred within medicine item due to previous MedSAS interface that went through in the current financial year. Program number 3, emergency medical services, the ambulance, all of those things, was allocated 932 million for the quarter under review, and 524.8 was spent, marking 23.4 expenditure on the allocated budget. Overspending is incurred within machinery and equipment item due to payment of accruals from the previous year and commitments on replacement and recapitalization of EMS responsive vehicles and ambulances. This is about one area we are zooming because the turnaround time, response time for ambulances, as you can imagine, it's quite crucial. But let me pass that point. Provincial hospital services. This program was allocated 3.7 billion for the quarter under review and 3.2 billion was spent, marking 24.1 expenditure on the allocated budget. Overspending is due to previous MedSAS interface that went through in the current financial year and payment of accruals as well. So this thing of accruals seems to be a program. Health sciences and training was allocated 214 million. They've spent 158 million, marking 16.9 expenditure. Let me run healthcare support services, which is quite commendable, was allocated 155. For the quarter under review, they've spent 123, marking 24.8. And lastly, health facility management allocated 892 million for the quarter under review, 620 would have been spent, marking 32.7. There's a number of concerns, only 3. Let me quickly run through them. The committee is concerned about low cervical cancer screening coverage due to inadequate marketing. So campaigns, health promotion campaigns. And secondly, we are also concerned about the irregular expenditure during the quarter under review. That amounts to 122 million. And then thirdly, the committee is also concerned about incomplete reporting of EMS targets, which hinders effective oversight and monitoring on the department. And on those 3 concerns, we have recommended that the department must, number one, give us an awareness campaign to boost uptake and meet the targets, because they are saying often people don't present themselves for screenings. So by the 31st of October, we want a detailed, comprehensive plan. And then structured audit and implementation of stricter financial controls as it relates to irregular expenditure. Similarly, the deadline, 31st of October. Lastly, timely and comprehensive submission of EMS data to enhance accountability and performance tracking, 31st of October. Allow me lastly to thank all of you, to thank both the political membership, the administrative membership of the committee. And in terms of Rule 117, subsection 2, proviso C, it's not a subsection, it's a proviso in terms of the law. Read together with the Rule 164, I hereby present this report for the adoption of this August House. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Advocate Letsoalo. Can I have a seconder for the report, please?
I rise, Secretary.
Honourable Evans, thank you so much.
I rise to second, Chair.
Thank you so much, Honourable Mfikwe. Secretary, can you read the next order, please?
Thank you, Honourable Chair of Chairs. Consideration of the Education Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the first quarterly portfolio performance report of the Department of Education for the 2025-2026 financial year. Thank you.
Let me just go back to that order, please. All in favor say yes for the report of, and those not in favor say no. The report is adopted. Thank you. Honourable Mklongo, you can present your report.
Thank you, Chair of Chairs. Greetings to the residents of Gauteng. May we take parts of this report that are not read as having been read. The committee noted that the department received a total budget allocation of 68,575,000 for the 25-26 financial year. By the end of the first quarter, expenditure would have amounted to 17,932,837,000, which represents 26% of the allocation. This level of expenditure is broadly in line with Treasury regulations, which require departments to spend approximately 25% of their budgets per quarter. However, the expenditure on infrastructure was reported to be lower than anticipated. The department attributed this underperformance to challenges experienced by the Gauteng Department of Infrastructure in its role as the implementing agent. The committee expressed concern that this remains a recurring challenge, as similar delays have been previously reported in previous financial years, as well as remedial measures still lacking. The following The department reported on the following challenges in the quarter under review within the following areas. Under Program 1 of Administration, the program has an overspending on households which is attributed to the payment of leave gratuity, injury on duty, claims against the state which are unforeseeable circumstances, and accruals from GCRA bursaries that will be claimed from the Office of the Premier through the interdepartmental claims. The payment for capital assets are under spending due to supply chain processes for infrastructure. Laptops, POs are issued and waiting for delivery and invoicing. Program 2 on Public Ordinary School, the department has an overspending on households which attributed to the payment of leave gratuity, injury on duty, and claims against the state which are unforeseeable circumstances, and accruals from GCRA bursaries to be claimed. On independent school, the overall program is in accordance with treasury norms and standards. However, it is underspending with 39% in the quarter under review when compared to against Section 40 due to cash flow unavailability in the department. Program 4, which is public special schools, the program is overall in accordance with treasury norms and standards. However, is also underspending with 39% in the quarter under review. Program 5, which is early childhood development, the overall program is in accordance with treasury norms as well. It is also underspending due to the department's cash flow unavailability and revised plans to ensure objectives are still being achieved. Infrastructure spending started slower than anticipated, although projections by the implementing agents indicate that this will be fast-tracked in the upcoming quarters. On Program 7, which is examination and education-related services, the program has underspent in both overall and quarter under review due to delays in the NPI for coming preparations of the PYEI. Delays in the payment of invigilators, travel and subsistence allowance resulted in a large number of officials that had to be verified before being appointed temporarily on the system. Mitigating measures by the department to remedy over or under expenditure, the department will continue to monitor expenditure on a monthly basis and encourage managers to prioritize spending according to the plans. In relation to achievements with respect to GOD, during the first quarter of 25-26 financial year, the department reported a total spending of 318.7 million, which is 30% overall procurement directed towards GOD responsive procurement. Of this amount, 248.4 million, which is 23%, was spent on female-owned businesses, 69.8 million on youth-owned businesses, and 505,142 on businesses owned by persons with disabilities. The department achievements in respect to township economy, SMME, local procurement for the period under review. In the first quarter, 25-26, the department reported a total township procurement of 151.6 million, which is 14% of the procurement. In the North Corridor, the spending amounted to 52 million. In the Central, it was 43. East Corridor, 26 million. South Corridor, 7.4 million. In the West Corridor, it was 972,214,000. Outside Gauteng, spending amounts amounted to 22.2 million. Some of the committee concerns are as follows. The committee noted with concern that the infrastructure development was lower than anticipated, citing recurring underperformance by GDID as the implementing agent with no remedial measures in place. The committee has also noted with concern the slow pace of infrastructure delivery, which continues to delay the completion of critical school projects. The committee noted that while the department provided the list of newly established satellite schools, the physical addresses and exact locations were not included. This omission makes it difficult for the committee to fully exercise its oversight mandate, as on-site verification and monitoring require clarity on where the schools are situated. The committee noted with concern a number of schools such as Tshepong Primary School have been opened without access to bulk services. The committee noted with concern that at Manamelong Primary School, Storm damage from 2018 has yet to be repaired with roofing on classrooms and staff rooms still outstanding despite annual school readiness reports being completed. The committee further observed that the school's infrastructure is deteriorating with damaged trusses, collapsed ceilings, missing palisades, creating security risks, and inadequate paving that hampers access during rainy conditions. The committee, during its oversight visit to Tolimfundo Primary School, observed ongoing conflict between the school management team, the SGB members, as well as the broader community. These tensions stem from allegations of misuse of school funds and resources, as well as broader concerns around school management. The committee noted with concern that these unresolved disputes are undermining effective teaching and learning and governance at the school. The committee noted with concern the slow pace of internet connectivity in schools, particularly through the Gauteng broadband network rollout. This continues to limit schools' ability to fully integrate ICT into teaching and learning. The committee has noted with concern that cash flow unavailability resulted in delays in the transfer of LTSM trenches during the first quarter. The committee has further noted with concern the high level of accruals reported by the department, which negatively impacted service delivery and timely payment of service providers. We therefore recommend the following: that the department should strengthen its monitoring and reporting on GDID's performance as the implementing agent and escalate persistent challenges through the relevant intergovernmental forums. The department must provide a comprehensive progress report, written and/or dashboard in all infrastructure projects. This should include projects implemented through the DBSA as well as the budget facility for infrastructure or self-built initiatives. The department must provide physical addresses and written locations of all newly established satellite schools. The department should prioritize engagement with relevant written municipalities and service providers to ensure that all new schools are connected to bulk services as a matter of urgency. The department to provide a clear plan and timeline for written addressing the long-standing infrastructure challenges at Manamelong Primary School. The department must also urgently investigate the challenges at Tolimfundo Primary School. The department must provide a detailed report on the blockages, written and delays affecting internet connectivity with specific reference to the GBN rollout and provide plans and commitments made jointly with the e-government to address these challenges and ensure timely connectivity for schools. We would like to acknowledge members of the Portfolio Committee, the MEC, Honorable Matume Chilwane and his officials. We'd like to also appreciate our committee support team for the work that they continuously do in supporting us. In terms of Rule 117(2)C, read with Rule 164, the Education Portfolio Committee hereby recommends that the report on the Gauteng Department of Education first quarter report for the 25-26 financial year be adopted by the House, taking into account the committee concerns and proposed recommendations made in this report. Thank you, Chair of Chairs.
Thank you, Honourable Mhlongo. Can I get a seconder for the report, please, honourable members?
Members Sedinyane online wish to move Chair of Chairs.
Thank you so much, honourable member. I put it to the House. Everybody in favour say yes. Those not in favour say no. The report is it. Thank you so much. Secretary, can you read the next order, please?
Thank you, Honourable Chair of Chairs. Consideration of the Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the first quarterly performance report of the Department of Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation, including its entity for the 2025-2026 financial year. Thank you.
Honourable Tlebere, thank you so much.
Thank you, Honourable Chair of Chairs. Good afternoon, honourable members and the people of Gauteng. The overall budget of the department for the 2025-26 financial year was 1,013,402,000 rand, and it reported to have spent an amount of 154,173,000, which reflects an expenditure of 15.2% of the annual budget. The expenditure is not in line with the Treasury regulations, as the department was expected to spend 25% by the end of the first quarter. For the quarter under review, the department projected spending of 155,868,000 and the amount of 154,173,000 was spent. This is an expenditure of 98.9% and an underspending of 1.1%. This expenditure is not in line with the reported APP performance, as only 16 out of 48 targets were achieved in the quarter under review. The department has only achieved 33% of its service delivery target, which is a decline from the 67% which was achieved in the same period in the previous financial year. This performance was achieved with 98.9% expenditure, which shows no correlation between the expenditure and the performance. The payments of accruals for the Women's Living Heritage Monument contributed to high expenditure compared to the targets achieved. Even though funds have been spent on the monument, it still does not have an occupancy certificate and therefore will not be operationalized in the current financial year. The committee is concerned about the continuous shifting of plans and targets that were set for achievement in the quarter under review. This is because of the 32 targets that were not achieved in the quarter under review. The reasons were the same, which had to do with technical challenges associated with the e-submission system. It is further concerning that even though the targets were shifted to the second quarter, the department qualifies that this will be achieved pending the appointment of the service provider. Moreover, the concern of the committee is based on experience in the previous financial years, whereby targets were shifted and either eventually not achieved or had dire consequences for the beneficiaries of programs such as Grant in Aid and School Sport and Arts in Schools, as these have timelines. And on the committee findings and concerns, the recurring shifting of targets which undermine service delivery, especially for time-sensitive programs like School Sport, Arts in Schools, Grant in Aid, etc. Huge accruals from the previous financial year, particularly for the Women's Living Heritage Monument, which distort quarterly performance and crowd out service delivery budgets. The persistent high vacancy rate, 181 posts, and numerous acting positions which weaken capacity and accountability. Program 1 overspent by 41.3%, while core programs underperformed, showing poor prioritization and planning. The conditional grant underspending, particularly affecting libraries and sport, highlights persistent delays in procurement and transfer management. The Gauteng Film Commission demonstrates weak performance relative to its budget, with ongoing uncertainty about its governance and legislative status. On the committee recommendations, the department must submit a turnaround plan on how expenditure will be linked to measurable outputs with quarterly monitoring indicators. By 30 October 2025, the department must table a recruitment progress report detailing how critical vacancies will be filled and reporting on the reduction of acting position by 30 November 2025. The department must provide a corrective plan for timely utilization of conditional grants, including accountability for delays in approval and transfer by 30 October 2025. The department must provide a detailed report on the Women's Living Heritage Monument and Bipato Monument, including timelines for occupancy certificates, operationalization and funding implications by 30 October 2025. The department must provide the progress report on the GFC's legislative framework and governance status by 30 October 2025. The MEC to engage with the National Department, DSEC, through MEC to resolve the suspension of the conditional grant-funded school sport by 30 November 2025. The department must provide a quarterly matrix of shifted targets with reasons, mitigation, and realistic timelines to ensure accountability by 30 October 2025. I forgot to request out the House to take the parts that I did not read as read. And on the acknowledgement, the committee would like to thank the MEC for Sport, Arts, Culture and Recreation, Honorable Matume Chilwani, HOD, Mr. Mponawa, and officials of the department. The committee appreciates the diligent deliberations of the Honorable Chairperson and Honorable Members, Tin Ndlovu, B.E. Letswalo, M.S. Chabalala, L.D. Diakh, T. Sitika, N. Miso, and D.K. Adams. Alternate members, J. Miller, K. Poho, R.F. Ngobeni, and E. Mure. The committee also thanks the group committee coordinators, Z. Panzwambalo, Senior Researcher, S. Neneli, Committee Coordinator, P. Sugubudu, Committee Researcher, M. Shikwani, Committee Administrator, Lwandile Dabula, Senior Information Officer, J. Kiwitz, Communication Officer, Obridukula, Hansard Recorder, R. Muremi, and Service Officer, J. Mamabulo, for their role throughout the process. On the adoption, the Sport, Arts, Culture and Recreation Committee adopt its first quarter oversight report on the Department of Sport, Arts, Culture and Recreation first quarter performance report for the 25-26 financial year, following Rule 117, subsection 2, Proviso C, read together with Rule 164 of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. The Sport, Arts, Culture and Recreation Portfolio Committee tables the report to the House for consideration and adoption, considering the concerns and the proposed recommendations made in the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Tlebere. Is there a seconder?
I rise a second, Honorable Deputy Chair of Chairs.
Thank you, Chair of Chairs. All those in favor say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Those who are not agreeing say no. The ayes have it. The report is adopted. It is only proper that as I just came into the chair, that I greet you all members here gathered here today and the people of Gauteng who are watching us on our social media platforms. Sanbonani. Angatan Vumi. Sanbonani. Good afternoon. Members are not listening. Dumelang. Abstain. You? Nah. Goeiemiddag. Aye, okay. Will the Secretary please read the 17th order?
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair of Chairs. The next order of the day is consideration of Community Safety Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the first quarterly performance report of the Department of Community Safety for the year 2025-2026 financial year. Thank you.
Member Dr. Masuku, please present the report.
Good afternoon, Deputy Chairs of Chairs, to the citizens of Gauteng, our guests in the visitors gallery and those who are watching us on social media. I would like to request the House to consider the parts that are not going to be read loud to be considered as read and also considered to be presented. The committee conducted a thorough assessment of the department performance for the first quarter, 25-26. Out of 44 planned targets, 36 were achieved, reflecting an overall performance of 82%. At the program level, the Provincial Secretariat achieved 100%, the Traffic Management achieved 94%, while the administrative part recorded a concerningly low performance of 30%. The committee welcomed progress made in priority areas, including 229 police station visits, compliance assessment on Domestic Violence Act conducted at 38 police stations, analysis of 450 crime dockets, tracking of 349 gender-based violence femicide cases, the support provided to 5,835 GBVF victims, as well as awareness campaigns on GBVF, reaching over 94,000 households. The department achieved over 3,000 reckless driving operations, 4,900 speeding operations, 708 drunken driving operations, 301 A-wing operations. In addition, 25,809 crime prevention operations were conducted across the province, which result in arrest of 253 suspects on various offences. The committee noted with concern the inadequate administrative support and insufficient provision of essential infrastructure for green door facilities, which was hampering an effectiveness of this program. Without proper tools, resources, and structured support, the ambassadors are unable to perform their duties efficiently. The committee also noted that the department continued to deploy Gauteng traffic wardens to crime hotspots, which contributed to the strengthening of police visibility, crime prevention. However, the committee was gravely concerned about the functionality and the general safety of all law enforcement agents in the province. This follows an incident that we all read about in Davidton. In addition, we have analyzed and obtained that the functionality of the Gauteng Traffic Wardens Program highlighted several deficiencies in its implementation. The committee is also concerned about the persistent underperformance in targeted procurement for women, youth, persons with disabilities, and township-based enterprises. The committee maintains its commitment to exercise rigorous oversight over the department, holding it accountable and enhance service delivery to ensure that programs and strategic focus for achieving safer communities are done. I'll move over to the concerns and the findings of the committee and the recommendations. The committee raised the following concerns: the misalignment between financial and non-financial performance, particularly within Program 1 and Program 2, the high number of vacant positions within the department, inadequate capacitation and resourcing of Gauteng traffic wardens, community police forum patrollers, which undermines their functionality, the ongoing failure to meet procurement targets for women, youth, persons with disability, and township-based enterprises, the inadequate administrative support or lack of active monitoring of green door facilities compromising the oversight and support for this operation, and the persistently high rate of road fatalities. The committee makes the following recommendations: that by the 31st October 2025, the department must improve its financial management control mechanisms to ensure programs neither exceed nor underspend the allocated budget. The department must provide progress support on the filling of vacant posts. The department must ensure enhanced capacitation of Gauteng traffic wardens, community police forums, and patrollers. The department must urgently develop and implement a targeted procurement strategy with clear milestones and accountability measures. The department must consider the stipend for green door ambassadors. The department must develop and implement corridor-specific road safety plans and strengthen pedestrian interventions, particularly at identify high-risk areas. In conclusion, I would like to acknowledge the members of the committee, who participated in the review of this particular quarterly report, and also appreciate and cooperation of the Premier, Honorable P. Lesufi, and Mr. Roch Mukhorosi, the acting HOD, for their cooperation in the review. Also extend my gratitude to all members of the committee, Member Mahlakaza Manamela, Member Gunene, Member Moody, Member Evans, Member Maloka, Member Nyati, Member Nkani, Member Mulder, Member Bosch, and Member San. And lastly, acknowledge the members of our staff who continue to support the work of our committee as led by the coordinator, group coordinator Zuziwe Bachwa, senior researcher Sekina Nweli, committee coordinator Tabile, committee researcher Babalo, and research intern Asenele, and all the other committee administrators, and Tabiseng Mufukeng, our communication officer, Tebe Kumalo, our Hansard recorder, Sylvester Baloi, and Fezek Arroyo, and our resource person, Azwindweni Nechubuyu. Accordingly, in terms of Rule 117, Section C, Proviso C, read together with Rule 164 of the Standing Rules of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, the committee hereby presents its oversight report of 25-26 first quarterly report on the Department of Community Safety to the House for the adoption with the committee concerns and proposed recommendations made. I thank you.
Thank you, Member Masuku. Is there a seconder?
Yes. Arise to second, Chair of Chairs.
Member Evans, seconds. All those in favor say yes. Those, the noes?
Yes.
Okay, the yes have it. The report is adopted. Will the Secretary please read the 18th order?
Thank you, Deputy Chair of Chairs. Consideration of the Economic Development Portfolio Committee's Focused Intervention Study Report on the Vaal Special Economic Zone as a catalyst to propel the economy of the Citybeng region amid local economic downturns and global pressure.
Member Alberts, are you on the line?
Yes, thank you very much, Deputy Chair of Chairs.
You see, he's here. Thank you. You can present the report.
Thank you very much. I have now dialed in with my cell phone. The committee conducts oversight over the Department of Economic Development, herein referred to as the department and its entities. In conducting oversight, the committee utilizes a myriad of tools to achieve its objectives in ensuring that service delivery is rendered. In this instance, the committee undertook a focused intervention study to assess the work or projects undertaken by the department in aligning and supporting the implementation of economic infrastructure projects and small business sector. In this regard, the committee focused on the Vaal Special Economic Zone. With the establishment of the Vaal SEZ, the committee noted that it aimed to develop a multi-sector, multi-site SEZ in the Citybeng district that will attract large-scale investments which will support greater economic growth in that region. The SEZ stretches across the 3 local municipalities and will drive strategic partnerships with major corporations like Sasol and ArcelorMittal to work towards sustainable economic growth, job creation, and SME development. Several sites have been identified accounting for various land parcels which all have a 99-year lease, wherein some of the focus will be on a Hydrogen Valley Innovation Hub, renewable energy, and Vaal Erytropolis in Empoleni, agro-processing, waste-to-energy and manufacturing in Mid-Vaal, and logistics, waste-to-energy and manufacturing in Lesedi. It is notable that not much progress has been made in the implementation of the Vaal SEZ, with some sites only fenced and the approval of the license of the SEZ still pending and awaiting approval by the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition. Plans were outlined by the department that will be undertaken on all the various sites, including the development of the Erytropolis within the SEZ for the ease of moving goods, including the key points where goods will be moved, such as the N1 and N3 highway. Despite this, the committee outlines concerns and recommendations on the findings made during the site visit to the project, but some of these related to the capacitation of the Program Management Unit Office and some of the potential threats or challenges that may hamper the project. In considering the FIS, the committee undertook the following process. The committee researchers identified topics emanating from the budget report process and presented the topics to the committee. The committee researchers prepared a detailed motivation of the topic based on the research findings. The department made a presentation related to the adopted topic with respect to the progress made and challenges, and further respond to the questions or outstanding matters regarding the topic. An oversight visit was arranged for the committee to the said project, which they undertook, and a committee report was drafted from the findings containing recommendations to be tabled today. The committee concerns are as follows. The approval of the Vaal SEZ application currently still being evaluated by the DTIC. 2, the development of the 9 townships in the Richbridge site and Empoleni local municipality, however, has no concrete plans as yet. 3, the way the Vaal SEZ intends to mitigate issues related to localization, supplier development, skills development, including reskilling the workforce, as those are matters that arose from stakeholder engagements with the SEZ and the 3 municipalities involved in the project. 4, the number of stakeholders from the 3 spheres of government involved in implementation of the Vaal SEZ. 5, the department's inability to submit all plans related to the development of the Vaal SEZ. 6, the lack of capacity or human resources within the Vaal SEZ PMU office. 7, the threats, challenges, and weaknesses that the Vaal SEZ faces upon its implementation. And lastly, the absence of a report quantifying the projected number of jobs to be created by the SEZ, noting that a total number of 2,000 jobs was indicated by the department. The committee has recommended as follows, and all of these recommendations must be submitted by the 31st of October 2025. 1, the department should keep the committee updated on matters related to the approval of the SEZ license, as any delays experienced may have a potential negative impact on the investor commitments made, including confidence levels. 2, the department should provide the committee with detailed plans and timelines for the further development of the Richbridge site into the 9 townships within the Vaal SEZ. 3, the department should ensure that localization, supplier development plans, skills development, and including reskilling the workforce is undertaken as part of the implementation of the Vaal SEZ. 4, the department will ensure that all sites within the Vaal SEZ are developed as per the project plan, master plan, feasibility plan, and within the projected timelines. 5, the department should submit the project plan, master plan, and feasibility study related to the development of the Vaal SEZ to the committee. 6, the department should increase the human resources capacity within the PMU office, noting the magnitude of SEZ. Therefore, the committee is advocating that all 7 vacant positions in its structure should be filled as they are being critical in implementation of the SEZ, and they should be filled by the 3rd quarter of the 25-26 financial year. And then 7, the department must undertake a SWOT analysis of the Vaal SEZ with special focus on the common threats and weaknesses such as load and water shedding, which remains a major feature in the province thus far. And lastly, the department should submit a report to the committee detailing the projected number of jobs that the SEC will create, including the rationale of indicating the numbers that have been projected by the SEZ. I'd like to give the following acknowledgement. Deputy Chair of Chairs, appreciation is expressed to all members of the committee for their commitment to the oversight process, as well as MEC Maile and officials from the department. I commend them for their diligence and commitment shown during deliberations on the FI's report themed the Vaal Special Economic Zone as a catalyst to propel the economy of Steady Ben region amid local economic downturns and global pressures. Gratitude goes to the following honourable members: Member Tukumeni, B. Letswalu, M.M. Mpikwe, M.S. Moriarty, Omar Sabatala, F.K. Ngubeni, R.L. Abrams, F. Ngubeni, L.J. Evans, A. Ali, T. Nkani, and Member M. Delebo. And further appreciation goes to the members, F. Dos Santos and Tima Paula, who joins whenever they can. On behalf of the committee's appreciation and gratitude also goes to the personnel who assisted us. Deputy Chair of Chairs, so after due consideration, the Economic Development Portfolio Committee unanimously adopted the FIS report, themed the Vaal Special Economic Zone as a catalyst to propel the economy of Sedibeng region amid local economic downturns and global pressures. And in terms of Rule 117 PC, read together with Rule 165, the committee presents to this House and recommends the adoption of the committee's oversight FIS report themed the Vaal Special Economic Zone as a catalyst to propel the economy of Sedibeng region amid local economic downturns and global pressures. Thank you very much, Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Member Alberts. Is there a seconder? Member Ngubeni?
I rise to second, Deputy Chair.
Okay. For the record, it's Member Evans. All those in favor say yes. All those not in favor say no. The ayes have it. Member Alberts, you are going to go back. Don't leave. Secretary, will you please read the fifth order for Member Alberts to
Thank you, Deputy Chair.
present?
The fifth order is the consideration of the Economic Development Portfolio Committee's Oversight Report on the first quarterly performance report of the Department of Economic Development, including its entities, for the 2025-2026 financial year.
Member Alberts, please present the report.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Deputy Chair.
Yeah, thank you very much.
No, Member Letswalo, it's still Member Alberts. We have gone back to Member Alberts.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Order number 5.
Okay.
Yes. Member Alberts, you can continue.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. The department realized 100% of the set targets, therefore attaining 10 out of 10 of the targets, whilst entities attained 40 out of 48 planned targets, thus translating to an 83% achievement. This remains concerning as the department and entities continue to fail in attaining all targets, particularly those that are related to job creation. The department has spent 82.76% of its allocation for the quarter. It has therefore resulted in an enormous underspend of 17.24% and a variance that's far above the 3% threshold. The committee remains concerned with the department's inability to align expenditure with plans attained. In the quarter under review, the department reported to have attained its 2 targets on reports produced on goods and services procured from township enterprises and on value distributed through township infrastructure projects. There were discrepancies raised on the attained targets, thus clarity was sought, and to which the department reported that the achievement of the targets is dependent on the performance of the department's group entities. Since some entities did not achieve their targets, this in turn affected the overall performance of GDED and prevented it from meeting its own targets. Despite this explanation, the committee raises concern on how the department was able to revise its targets without submitting a revised annual performance plan. This seems to suggest that the department unilaterally revised this target based on the inability by entities to attain targets related to this performance area. On the liquor board, the committee noted that the GLB gave an update on the committee of inquiry, including its members, which were appointed to investigate fraud and corruption in the issuing and renewal of liquor licenses. The department indicated that the MEC appointed a committee of inquiry to investigate allegations against the Gauteng Liquor Board. This is noting that the GLB has been plagued by increasing incidents of suspicious, fraudulent and corrupt activities, which undermines internal and legitimate licensing processes. Furthermore, with the advent of the automation process, also known as the online liquor application system, a control measure that was implemented with the aim of mitigating this risk, more cases of unlawfulness and corruption have been identified subsequently. The recurrent risk profile of the GLB remains static in risk areas where fraud and corruption have been identified as leading causes. The committee should be furnished, therefore, with the findings of the committee of inquiry upon its concluding its work. As far as the Gauteng Enterprise Failure is concerned, and in relation to the status update on the distribution centre project, wherein the GP indicated that the program that was supporting distribution centre projects and sponsorships has been referred to the formal inquiry to establish what transpired with the entire project. The department will advise when the inquiry process will be concluded, and then the report will indicate the project challenges, success, and the impact on the supported sponsorships. In light of this, the committee is concerned about scope and terms of references for this inquiry, noting that the committee had advocated for a forensic investigation into the project and the implementing agency, which is Family Tree, through a House resolution. In addition to this, the committee should be furnished with the details relating to the already appointed senior counsel to investigate allegations pertaining to Family Tree Holdings, including the time frames given to the senior counsel to finalize the investigations. As for the Gauteng Tourism Agency, the department should engage Gauteng Treasury for improved funding in the 26-27 financial year for the entity, noting that tourism is one of the key pillars of employment creation. The view of the committee is that the entity should not always rely on the adjustment period to solicit more funds in every financial year, as that is not sustainable. In bolstering tourism, the GTA should inform the committee how it will leverage in making Gauteng a destination of choice for tourism during the G20 summit. This should also include other international conferences that will take place in Gauteng. The lack of creation of jobs overall, more job opportunities, remains a big concern for the committee, as in the previous quarter, similar concerns were raised. As for financial performance, there is a misalignment between the expenditure and planned targets with the APP. The committee has raised this in this regard, as expenditure should be aligned with APP targets. The non-attainment of achievements particularly resides within agencies, and the committee raises serious concerns with this. The committee implores the department to align its plans with its expenditure, and the committee will closely monitor this. The committee's recommendations are the following. The committee recommends that the department provide the rationale for its change of targets in the APP without their submission to the GPL. A report in this regard should be submitted outlining all the targets that have been revised in the 25-26 financial year for both the department and entities, including the reason for the revision. And this report must be submitted to the committee by 31 October 2025. Second recommendation, the committee recommends that the Gauteng Liquor Board should submit the findings of the committee's inquiry on the Gauteng Liquor Board, noting that recommendations of the inquiry will be submitted to the NEC by the 30th of September 2025, and therefore the same recommendations, including the resolve and actions to be undertaken by the executive on the outcome of the inquiry, should be submitted to the committee by 31 October 2025. Third recommendation, the committee recommends that the department should submit a report on the time frame given to the council to investigate the allegations related to family tree, noting that a summary of the scope of the investigation has been shared with the committee already. A report to be submitted by the 31st of October 2025. Fourthly, the committee recommends that the Gauteng Tourism Agency and the department should engage Gauteng Treasury for improved funding in the 26-27 financial year for the entity. A report outlining the measures taken by the GTA in this regard should be submitted to the committee. Added to this, in bolstering tourism, the GTA should inform the committee how it will leverage in making Gauteng a destination of choice for tourists during the G20 summit, and this should include other international conferences that will take place in Gauteng. And a report on this should be submitted to the committee by the 31st of October 2025. Now I come to the acknowledgements. Appreciation expressed to all members of the committee for their commitment to the oversight process, as well as MEC Mahile and officials from the department. I commend them for their diligence and commitment shown during deliberations on the first quarterly performance report for the 25-26 financial year of the Gauteng Department of Economic Development. Gratitude goes to the following honourable members: Member T. Kuneni, B.E. Fetswalu, M.M. Mutikwe, M.S. Moriarty, O. Matsabatala, F.K. Ngubeni, R.L. Abrams, R.F. Ngubeni, L.J. Evans, A. Ali, T. Nkani, and Member N. Delebo. It is an honour to lead such a hard-working team. Further appreciation goes to the alternate members of Member S.J. Dos Santos and P. Mapala within the committees as and when required. Appreciation and gratitude also goes to the following persons that helped us: the personnel group committee coordinator, Mr. T. Modibe, researchers, Dr. A. Malapane and Ms. M. Makubele, senior committee coordinator, Mr. T. Spasana, committee administrator, Ms. V. Makubetsi, Anzac recorder, Mr. S. Baloy, public participation officer, Mr. B. Lomu, public participation assistant, Miss R. Matebula, service officers, Ms. L. Muslala and Ms. Z. Mabasi, and communication officer, Mr. T&D, and lastly but not least, information officer, Ms. A. Nchevi, for the devoted assistance. After due consideration, the Economic Development Portfolio Committee unanimously adopted the Committee Oversight Report on the Gauteng Department of Economic Development First Quarterly Performance Report for the 25-26 financial year. And in terms of Rule 117PC, read together with Rule 164, the committee presents to this House and recommends the adoption of the Committee's Oversight Report on the Gauteng Department of Economic Development First Quarterly Performance Report for the 2025-2026 financial year. Thank you very much, Deputy Chair. Please.
Thank you, Member Alberts. Is there a seconder?
I rise to second.
Thank you. All those in favor say yes. Those not in favor say no. The ayes have it. The report is adopted. Will the Secretary please read the 19th order? Member Litswalo, Advocate Litswalo. You can stand in for the Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Deputy Chair of Chair. The 19th order is the consideration of the Privileges and Ethics Standing Committee's report on the declaration of members' interests for the 2024-2025 financial year.
Advocate.
Thank you very much, Chair. Let me thank you for the correct and befitting address. Once more, let me appreciate the residents of Gauteng, including the membership of this House, on behalf of the Chairperson of the Standing Committee on Privileges and Ethics, Honorable Mtlakaza Manamela, I hereby table the committee's report on the declaration of members' interest for the 2024-2025 financial year as follows. On introduction, this report is submitted to the House in accordance with the sections 24 subsection 1 and 25 subsection 1 of the Code of Conduct and Ethics, as outlined in the stated rules of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. It reflects the committee's oversight responsibilities concerning members' compliance with the declaration of interest requirements for the 2024-2025 financial year. The report provides an account of the processes followed, the outcomes of the declaration period, and the committee's recommendations regarding members who fail to comply with the applicable disclosure obligations. Process followed on Tuesday, June the 10th. The Integrity Commissioner, Mme Gugu Mashego, presented the fourth performance report for the 2024-2025 financial year to the committee. The report included a section of the declaration of members for the stated financial year. The committee adopted the report, which had a recommendation on the declaration of members' interest. The committee deliberated and unanimously adopted the committee's report on the declaration of members' interest for the 2024-2025 financial year on Friday, the 29th of August of the presenting year. Declaration of members' interest in accordance with Part 4 of the Conflict of Interest and Disclosure Framework for members of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. Members are ordinarily required to disclose all their registrable interest within 30 days after the opening of the legislature or on appointment of the member. Letters were sent to members in accordance with the disclosure framework on February the 25th of the current year. The e-disclosure system was open for members to declare their registrable interest from the 1st of March to the 30th of March of the current year. During House sittings, members were also reminded to ensure compliance with this process. Additionally, the Office of the Integrity Commissioner sent text messages and WhatsApp messages to leaders of political parties asking them to remind their members to submit their e-disclosures by the deadline of the 30th of March, and those whose e-disclosures were still outstanding. The system closed on the 30th of March with only 71 members out of 80 who were declared and 9 did not declare. The following are the names of the members who failed to disclose their registrable interest within the stipulated time frame. So we are naming now. First one, member Moleboge Masole. Second one, Melindiwe Masilela. Honorable Koketso Poho. Honorable Moses Koma. Honorable Luara Abrams. Honorable Mbali Shope. Honorable Vuisa Gentile. Honorable Tasnim Mutara. Honorable Chrisan Bosch. And those would be the names. So these are the names of the 9 members who had not submitted their interest, membership interest. The register for members' interest, the booklet, has since been printed and published in the GPL website and social media for public access and scrutiny in April 2025. A copy of the register is available in the library for public scrutiny. Committee recommendations. The committee's recommendations are as follows. As per section 25 subsection 1 of the Code of Conduct provides for penalties and states that, and I quote, the Integrity Commissioner may recommend to the committee the imposition of one or more of the following penalties whereas found that a member has breached the provision of this code. Subsection 1, a reprimand. And then going further, the committee accordingly recommends that Section 25, subsection 1 of the Code of Conduct and Ethics be invoked and that members named are hereby given reprimand as the committee has found that they have breached a provision of this code. And those are all the 9 members that I would have already stated. On conclusion, the committee hereby tables this report for consideration by the House. It reiterates the importance of timely and accurate disclosure of members' registrable interest in line with the Code of Conduct and Ethics. The committee urges all members to take personal responsibility for compliance and to remain fully informed of their ethical obligations. Furthermore, members are encouraged to actively engage with training opportunities provided by the Office of the Integrity Commissioner to reinforce adherence to the standards of conduct expected in the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. Notwithstanding the fact that members listed in this report failed to declare their registrable interest within the stipulated timeframes, the committee emphasizes that the obligation to declare remains. These members are therefore expected to approach the Office of the Integrity Commissioner without any further delay to submit their outstanding declaration. On acknowledgements, the committee would like to thank the Integrity Commissioner, Mme Koko Mashego, for her dedication and veracity. I would like to, but veracity, it might not be an appropriate, maybe a commitment, because, I would like to thank the following honorable, I would like to thank the honorable members, Honorable Makubela, Honorable Gunene, Honorable Nseke, Honorable Sharif, Honorable Nkani, Honorable Masilele, Honorable Masilele, Honorable Evans, Honorable Abrams, you all are members of this committee. Honorable Ngobeni, Honorable Alberts, Honorable Adams, Honorable Ali, as well as the Honorable Dlamini. Furthermore, the committee would like to thank the following officials: Advocate Madikani, Senior Procedural Advisor, Menontis, Senior Committee Coordinator, Ntate Ntuli, Committee Researcher, Ntate Sithole, Committee Administrator, Ntate Makwela, Senior Hansard Recorder, Muremi, Hansard Recorder, and Miss Mnetwa, Service Officer. And on adoption, after due deliberations, the Standing Committee on Privileges and Ethics adopted the report unanimously. In accordance with Rule 164, the committee tables the report for consideration and adoption by the House. I thank you.
Thank you, Advocate Letswalo. Is there a seconder?
Yes, Chair, I rise to second.
Okay. Member Skosana? Thank you. All those in favor say yes? Yes. All those not in favor say no? Okay. So nobody's protesting the none of the 9 are protesting. Honorable members, okay. Honorable members, I guess you know that for all decisions that we take, all decisions that we take have consequences. You know that again. Last sitting, we postponed sitting questions, and today we agreed that all oral questions are going to be postponed. And that's what we agreed to when we started the meeting. I therefore want to inform you that there is a proposal to have a sitting next week, Tuesday, on the 30th. This is a consequence of your decisions, so that we can deal with all questions that were postponed last sitting and questions postponed today. But this matter will still have to serve in an agent programming committee, which is likely to sit on Thursday. So the program committee will undertake a final decision. But I'm informing you in advance so that you plan. So you're not taken by surprise when the program committee has agreed to convene a sitting next week, Tuesday. And on that note, That concludes the business of today. We are likely to sit next week, Tuesday, as proposed. Thank you very much. So who takes the... I must first...
All the best.